Hello everybody and welcome into Roughneck Racing's Madness Money Racing Series live tonight from the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway, and thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. It's good to be back. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I am a bit under the weather, still recovering from some of the winter sicknesses that's been going around, but excited to be back. And these guys getting ready to put on one heck of a show tonight. We got a stacked field, and to kick things off, got a couple heat races to get everybody a little extra money and a little bit more excitement before we move on to our feature later tonight. All right, so let's get right down trackside, kick things off here tonight with your starting grid. Taking the pole, one of the Coke Series and Jack Shack drivers. That is Malik Ray in the 38, puts down a 52.796. His teammate Kyler Wynn, the Canadian driver, will start to his outside in second. It's going to be Matthew Baker back in the third spot here tonight. Landon Velicki, one of the PGR eSports broadcasters slash drivers. Again, for Nightmare Esports, he will start on the outside of row 2 and 4th. Josh Gambrone back in 5th. Matt Lee to his outside in 6th. We've got Brian Hennings back in the 7th spot here tonight for VRX Simulators. Starting in 9th, it's going to be Mark Vondell, skipped over 8th, John Ward. Back in 9th, it's going to be Mark Vondell, and then rounding out the top 10, it's going to be, looks like, Zachariah Cartilage. That's one of the new drivers we've got in the field here tonight. If I pronounced that first name wrong, I do apologize. Back in 11th, it's going to be Jason Lyon with Jeff Merck to his outside in 12th. Then moving on back to that 13th spot here tonight, it's going to be Chris Blanchard alongside John Darnell on the outside of row number 7. Chase Mastretta for Nightmare Esports, he will start back in 15th. James Warren to his outside in 16th. Jonathan Herbert in 17th with Ethan Eckert 18th. Tucker McClendon in 19th. Ken McCullough Jr. rounding out the top 20. And Ambrose Kniebel rounds out the final spot for heat number 1. And breaking down that race info for you here again, in case you're a little bit confused what I'm talking about with heats, well, here's how the breakdown looks tonight. We're going to have 2 heat races. First one going to be 21 drivers. Second one, I believe, will either be 20 or 21, depending on the total number of entries we had as qualifying wrapped up. Both heats going to be 10 laps. I believe cautions are on, but didn't get official word on that. We know that these drivers do also have one fast repair for each heat, and then also the feature, and that feature will be 50 laps, 50% fuel. Not going to be an issue here in the heats, of course. 4 sets of tires, which will also not be an issue in the heats. And again, that one fast repair fix setups as always, and 3 green light checkers if we are to need them. Talladega Superspeedway, over 2.5 miles in length, 30+ degrees of banking in the corners, and these long straightaways allow for a bunch of pushing and shoving. We're going to see who can find the best tandem partner here tonight. Looking at track temp, just over 120 degrees, so it's a little hot. Going to be a little slick out there. Drivers are going to have to make sure that they hold on to these cars, especially when they start getting more adventurous and try pushing in the corners. 79 degrees outside, 27% humidity, clear skies, beautiful day in the sim. Winds at 8 miles an hour, not going to be an issue. All right, here we go. Pace car going to make its way off of turn number 4. The field stacked 2 by 2. Again, we got 2 heat races, so if you don't see your favorite driver in this one, you know they're racing tonight. You will see them in the second one. The iRacing.com pace car now going to make that left turn for the first time here tonight. I'll tell you what, Madness Money Racing Series still relatively new, but they keep bringing these stacked fields. The drivers are bringing the energy, and we are ready to bring you all the coverage live from Talladega Superspeedway. Here we go. Heat number 1 is underway. Green flag is in the air at Talladega. Lap 1 in the books here in heat number 1, and already Malik Ray gotten very organized up top with the 62 of Landon Velicki. You got the 82 of Kyler Wynn right now rocking the middle, and on the bottom, Matthew Baker trying to make some headway, but to not much avail right now. I'm shocked that they got 3x3 as quick as they did. Usually it seems like everybody kind of tries to single file up top here in these next gens. Any moves you see being made are kind of a second line that forms and tries to drop to the bottom, but all that 3-wide action, you can see it starts to stall some of these guys out. A couple lines starting to fade back here just a little bit. And man, the 92 of John Ward, looks like him and Blanchard got a bit offset right there. They're going to have to reset, get it back together. And I believe I might have said it wrong for Zachariah. I think it might be Zachariah Cartilage. Again, if I'm pronouncing that first name wrong, do let me know. We'll correct it. But that is one of the new names here tonight. So far, so good. He's got himself down a position from where he started this race at. That's a beautiful looking paint scheme that he's got on that 82 machine. Other thing to mention with these two heats here tonight, all the drivers are going to advance. Nobody is going home. The only thing they're racing for in these heats is $25. So go ahead and get your entry fee back right here and now so that you don't have to worry about it in the feature. That's what everybody's got on their minds. And up front, man, Malik Ray just looking so smooth and so fast. And speaking of some of the new paint schemes, looks like he's got a new one on board. That number 7 machine, he's got the James Wagner's Welding number 7. James Wagner, of course, owner of Roughneck Racing in the Madness Money Racing Series, and he'll get his teammate Kyler Wynn to slide up. Oh, contact into the wall. Now that's going to stack him up out back. Can they all hold on? Oh, it looks like they do, but man, what a close call that one was. Kyler Wynn made that abrupt jump right up to the top of the racetrack. Malik probably anticipating it, but I'm not sure what happened. They just didn't get squared up quite the way they normally would. Ooh, Mark Vondell, man, he tried to make that move up. Kyler Wynn, ruthless, going to sneak right to the outside of the 59. Vondell's going to get sucked back. In the middle now, he's going to have to find a spot to drop in line, and he won't get one until he gets to the back of that outside train. Finds a place behind Josh Gambro, another car out of line towards the middle, but up front, they're still 2 by 2 with Matt Lee right now leading the high side. Brian Hennings on the bottom. Matthew Baker doing all the pushing right now, trying to creep down. He wants Lee to go for a side draft. Lee's not going to bite. That's going to break up all the momentum that outside had going. Now Lee makes the move down. Another big move. Couldn't tell if that one was one that Lee necessarily wanted to make or if Kyler just got him loose. Either way, you can see right now that middle lane is just not making much headway as Kyler and Malik here going to drop down. We'll see if that helps him out. But boy, Brian Hennings and James Waring, they had a huge surge of momentum that last lap to get all the way back to the front. And similar to what you kind of saw during that 2010s era of NASCAR racing with the car tomorrow, where these two car tandems, they get linked up. And it's almost like you're on an interstate. You get a lot of momentum, you pass a bunch of cars, and then you get stuck for a while. You get a lot of cars that start passing you back, and that cycle just continues over and over. And it's all about who can set themselves up in the perfect spot to make that pass and have that momentum on the last lap of this race. Still 3 by 3 though, a little bit further back. On the outside, Veliky working together with Josh Giambro, and they're getting a little bit of help as well. Out back, maybe not enough just yet. That's Jason Lyon, by the way, in the 26th machine here tonight. Good to see Jason in the field. It's another driver that you don't hear too much in the money racing scene. So going to see if he can put down an impressive run here tonight. Vondell had to check up there further back, but you know, I think what you've seen a little bit of, and I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that we're not seeing it maybe a little bit more organized than it normally is right now, is that I think for this outside, there's been a couple of guys who have tried to kind of lead him down the side draft, but they haven't all been in sync. It's kind of one of those give and takes ordeals. If you're on this outside line, you do not want somebody to sneak to your outside. If they get to your outside, they're going to grab your quarter panel, side draft you, and it's going to suck your car back. You're going to lose a whole bunch of momentum. But at the same time, if you're trying to make ground on that inside line, you go down in these corners, you grab a little bit of their quarter panel, their right side, if you will, side draft them back, you can make a lot of ground really, really quickly. But that's that kind of that risk versus reward, right? You go down, somebody splits you to the outside. Well, now you're going all the way to the back. But at the same time, you go down, everybody follows in suit. You are going to make a way right to the front, right as the 92 of John Ward takes the lead. You saw just a lap ago there, a little bit of unset pushing, and now we're going to get another big push. Whoa, Matt Lee's going to go around. The 04 back up into traffic, big hit. Caution is out as the 13 of James Warren goes upside down along the safer barrier. He'll eventually roll down the banking here off of turn number 2. That car will not flip back over. And so that is going to make him have to pay a hefty tow bill as he'll take it right back to the pits. Caution flies here with just 4 laps to go in the heat. So we will, I'm not sure if they have overtimes in these. If they don't, it'll be interesting to see if we can get this thing back green before it finishes up. Again, 4 laps to go. We'll get to that here in just a second. But you see some of the carnage here. Some of the cars already in the pits. I mean, this is big damage to a couple of the big names. Matt Lee in the 04. I mean, he is all torn up on the front end. And then James Waring, who we saw go upside down, his car is destroyed as well. Maybe a couple others with damage. We'll get to that in just a moment. But either way here, 3 laps to go. You see it on the ticker there with caution out. Let's go back and see what sparked this one. You saw Matt Lee, the first car to go sideways, and it looked like kind of the topic I was just getting ready to touch on, which is, you know, normally in these next gens, when somebody makes a move, it's really, really easy to just kind of slam draft them, even if it's in the corners. But when the track temp starts getting ramped up, a little bit on the hotter side, as it is here tonight, things can start to get a little dicey, and this is going to start when Matthew Baker makes this move down to the bottom. Now, I'm not sure if this is a move Baker wanted to fully make, or if maybe he got a little bit of help from Kyler and just decided to take the run. We'll have to see here as we'll go back on the cockpit view first to Matthew Baker, but watch how quick he's going to make this jump out of line. Watch his wheel. Right there. So Baker commits to the move. He gets down there. He's clear. That's not the issue. The issue is going to be trying to size him up here once he gets down. And for Matt Lee here, it's kind of going to be he's going to hope for some give and take from behind. James Waring, though, he can't really necessarily see Matthew Baker. He's pushing Matt Lee, thinking that that's the lead car, and he's trying to push him to the front. Lee tries to kind of equal out with Baker, but at the same time, he's getting shoved from out back by Waring, and it just never really lines itself up. Eventually, Lee starts to get up the track. The 13 can't get off of him. And once Lee gets turned around, goes right back up into traffic, and these were some big, big hits for, again, some really, really good cars here in Heat 1. Brian Hennings, one of the most improved sim drivers on the money racing side of things, at least we have seen here in 2024. You knew he was going to be a threat here tonight, but he's going to have maybe a bit of a tougher qualifying spot, depending on if he can get his car back out and fixed before and if we go back green. But for James Waring here, this is really going to put him behind the sticks. And watch this here. There's another angle of it. Big hit. We'll go back to TV1 and see for Veliky. I think he gets through okay. Jeff Merck, I'm not sure if he necessarily gets any damage. Yeah, he does right there. Just a little clip on the right front of his race car with Brian Hennings. Those two Chevy Camaros, a little bit of friendly fire on each other. And for Waring right there, you thought maybe it was going to roll all the way back over, but it just didn't. So they'll have to go ahead and reset. Give you two more angles of this here before we go back live and see how exactly this race is going to end. Here's what it looked like in the turn 1 and 2 complex as they exited turn number 2. And right there, again, that's a big hit for Waring. He almost got kind of wedged up on that safer barrier. Got him turned around, but a lot of drivers lucky to escape that one based off where it happened at. That could have easily collected basically the whole field. It doesn't. And as we get one more look here, we'll go on board with Jeff Merck. Watch what he saw at full speed. Some good dodging and weaving there to minimize any damage for the 60 of Jeff Merck. And so now as we go back live with just 3 laps to go, we kind of look at what the pace car is looking like here, and looks like the lights are off. Well, no, they might still be on. It's a little bit hard to tell in the day. They are on. We'll see if they go off this time, which could set us up for a 1-lap shootout. Assuming that we don't have any overtimes, at least, I guess. If I check it here, nope, looks like they do have green-white checkers. You could barely see it there on the top left of your screen for just a quick second. Either way, as we get ready to go back green, good to see everybody in the chat here tonight. Troy Elliott says, let's go, Austin. Good to see you. I believe that is Richard Elliott. Richard, I hope that you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Danny Barnes, good to see you in here. Susan Cartledge, Susan Cartledge says, let's go, Cartledge. Monaco Zero rooting on Cartledge as well. Daniel Alcorn says, let's go, John. And Susan Cartledge helping us out in the chat says it's pronounced Zachariah. There you go. All right, so Zachariah Cartledge, the driver of the number 82, who, by the way, is now up 5 spots from where he started this race at. Blanchard's up 7. Those 2 of your bigger movers in the top 10. John Ward tied with them as well. He is also up 7 positions from where he started this heat at. Chase Mastretta back in 8th, up 7. And then Ken McCullough Jr. currently is actually your biggest mover inside the top 10. He's up 11 positions from where he started this race at. Heath Job says, hi, Austin. How's it going, Heath? Good to see you in here. Thomas Parker, good to see you as well. And so, by the way, again, we talked about Heat 2 coming up after this, but, I mean, looking at just how big this field is here tonight, we are going to see some really, really big payouts on the line, especially at the end of the feature event tonight, which is going to be coming up probably, if I had to guess time-wise, maybe in about another 20 minutes. Again, once this heat wraps up, we will head over to heat race number 2. Not going to really have time to necessarily interview the winner here of the heat, and we won't have much time to look through the results either, as it's a pretty quick switchover. But either way, Matthew Baker, John Ward looking to start their night off really, really good here tonight. Maybe see if they can get a win here in the heat. And the beautiful part about it, and this is kind of, I don't want to call it a dilemma, but really kind of one of the whole goals of money racing, is anytime you have these events where you have almost prelim races and a chance to get your money back right then and there, where you know you're guaranteed to make it into the race later, this is where you really lay it on the line. Because you know if you make a mistake, you wreck out on the last lap, who cares? You're going to have another shot at it here in the feature to go for a lot more money. You don't get that second chance tonight in the feature. So if you go for it now, you get risky, and it pays off, and then maybe something doesn't work out in the feature, well, you already got your entry fee back, so really you're not at a loss for the night. Maybe it's also a chance for some of these newer guys, Cartledge, a couple others to try to make some friends now. Find a tandem partner. See if you can work your way to the front in just 2 laps. Just over 5 miles, the distance of this green-white checkered attempt that we're getting ready to do here at Talladega. By the way, quick reminder here of what these rules are going to look like. They're going to have to make it to the white flag to make this heat official. If not, we'll have to see how they decide to finish it from there. Either way, we're going to go for a green-white checkered attempt. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. 2 laps to go in heat number 1 at Talladega. And it's a good restart for the inside line. John Ward, you wonder if he thought about taking that Hyper Motorsports Chevy Camaro to the high side. He's not going to get the opportunity to, as they stay side by side now through 1 and 2. Malik Ray, Chris Blanchard, the 2 pushers on the outside. This is going to be a strong tandem battle here. Down the backstretch, John Ward gets a little offset. Kyler lines it back up, but it's too late. Look at the outside roll. Malik Ray, Matthew Baker, how many can they get clear? Blanchard gets clear. All of a sudden, everybody has bailed on Kyler Wynn. And now, all of a sudden, the 92 of John Ward trying to find somewhere to go. He's going to stick to the bottom for now. Matthew Baker up top. They will be coming to the white flag if they can make it off a turn for the 82. Whoa, Cartledge gets a little loose. Behind him, they try to save it one around. Is this going to bring out the caution? Nothing yet. They're wrecking out back as they come into the tri-oval. Nothing yet. Looks like that was Jason Lyon, maybe James Waring. Either way, white flag in the air. 1 lap to go in heat 1. Who wants the $25? Matthew Baker still up top. You got to think that Malik Ray is waiting for when he is going to make this move. Kyler Wynn on the bottom. Looks like the 82 of Cartledge trying to go with him here. Do they have enough help? Watch out back. Chase Mastretta gets loose. That's going to send Cartledge off the racetrack. He saves it, but he's going to be out of it. Matthew Baker still leads the high side. Malik Ray in tow. Jeff Merck third. Here we go. If you're Malik, are you pushing Baker the rest of the way? Are you pushing him out to make a move, or are you jumping down in front of your teammate? There's the move. Malik looks low. Baker's going to look a lane lower. Kyler Wynn tries to go down even lower. Baker's going to go high, but now Kyler Wynn goes to the point. Final time into the tri-oval. Ken McCullough Jr. looks high. Now he looks low. Kyler's going to push him under. Ken's going to go up into the wall. Kyler Wynn's going to bring it back first. Drag races with Mark Vondell to the line, but it's Kyler Wynn who takes heat number 1 here at Talladega. And for Ken McCullough Jr., I don't know if he appreciated the blocking right there too much from Kyler, but either way, gets the job done. We'll have to see how those favors get returned later on. But a nice job there by Kyler to hold on when things started getting crazy there at the end. Let's go back and, well, I guess I should say before we go back and look at it here, let's see if we can briefly look at your results. May not get a chance here. They're still coming in for the heat, so while we do wait on that, we'll go back and actually look at this one more time. Ken McCullough Jr., boy, he was trying everything in his power here. He's going to look high on Kyler. Kyler blocks that. And Ken's going to look back low. Kyler blocks that too. Ken's on the apron, and then not really sure what happened there for Ken, but either way, it didn't work out. Boy, Vondell got a lot closer than it initially appeared right there at the end, didn't it? Kind of came out of nowhere with a whole bunch of momentum, and Vondell, that's really close. He'd like to see that same result in the feature. That'd be a pretty good payout spot, even though it may not necessarily count for anything at the moment. All right, go back live, getting ourselves set up here for heat number 2. So as we do so, we'll check the results here for heat number 1. This is what it was looking like. Again, your winner of the heat was Kyler Wynn. And we'll go back live here in just a second. Second place in that was Mark Vondell. Matthew Baker rounds out the podium for heat 1. Jeff Merck 4th. Josh Gambro in 5th. With Ken McCullough Jr. 6th. Chase Mastretta in 7th. Chris Blanchard back in 8th. Landon Veliky 9th. And Malik Ray rounding out your top 10. Ambrose Kniebel finished 11th. John Ward 12th. John Darnell in 13th. With Zachariah Cartledge back in 14th. Jonathan Herbert 15th. Jason Lyon in 16th with Brian Hennings in 17th. James Waring finished back in the 18th spot. Matt Lee in 19th. Ethan Eckert 20th. And Tucker McClendon, who I believe is on race control here tonight, being scored as the 21st finishing car in that mix. All right, now taking a look at your starting grid here for heat number 2. You've got Daniel Falkingham set up on the pole with Stephen Miles back in 2nd. Nash Brambilla in 3rd. Nathan Harper in 4th with Cody Nagels 5th. Chris Melton in 6th. James Wagner in 7th. Sean Corbett to the outside of row 4 in 8th. Connor Cunningham back in 9th. And it looks like it's going to be John Ellis Jr., one of the veterans making a return here tonight, rounding out your top 10. Devin Ramsey, he'll start in 11th. It's going to be Steve Sizemore to his outside in 12th. Moving on back to row number 7, Kevin Price alongside Teresa Spiker with Edward Fiedler in 15th. Ron Hunter in 16th. Tony Edrington in 17th. Looks like, is that, can't quite see what it is from here. I believe is that Amar Salah Amar Saleh. I apologize again if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Let me know. Might be Amir Saleh. We'll go with Amir for now, or Amar. Either way, he will start in the 18th spot. Tyler Vickery in 19th. Samuel Carter in 20th. And Matt Metler. Good to see his name in the field here tonight. Matt usually up here in the booth commentating, but he's going to try his hand at one of these money races tonight. And he will start in that 21st position. Race info here the same for Heat 2 as it was for Heat 1, so we won't bother bringing it all the way back up for you. But the general idea is pretty simple here, as we'll go ahead and reset things back to live here. Seems that it was a little delayed, so as we go ahead and get things cleared up, get ready to go back live. And I was going to say, things are the same here. The only difference is, of course, the drivers that are in it. And, I mean, up front, see, Miles has been on a little bit of a tear recently. Had a great run, of course, on Monday night in the PGR Light Series. Looking to top that off here tonight with a good run on New Year's Day. So for the 48 on the inside, if you're Daniel Falkingham, knowing that that's a teammate up top, just for him to try to get his... Well, he can't really get a jump here on the initial start. It's on green, but he's going to certainly get as quickly on the throttle as he can. Maybe try to bend the rules just a teeny bit here if it helps him get in front of his teammate. Maybe Miles has to hit the gas just a smidge later. Either way, we'll see if these two can get locked up pretty quick and get rolling on this high side. So 10 laps. We didn't see the first caution in that first race until after about 5 laps, about halfway through. We'll see if these guys can go any further than that. Maybe keep the whole heat green. Either way, getting closer to the feature. But first, let's settle it right here. Heat number 2 is underway. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. Lap 1 of Heat 2 in the books. Just 9 to go. Daniel Falkingham leads the way, and kind of the opposite of what we saw in Heat number 1, where they were 3 wide after the first lap. They've single filed out pretty nicely here. Up top for now, everybody ready to just cruise, try to tick some of these laps off, except the drivers that are hanging towards the top 10. Trouble. One into the wall on the backstretch. Another one's going to get collected. It's one of the R&R drivers. And one more is, whoa. Boy, they came to a quick halt. That's Tony Edrington and Steve Sizemore, it appears, involved in this one, and that is a huge hit for both of those. And Edrington, he might... Oh, I guess for a second it looked like he was stuck in the outside safer barrier. It's like he's been able to get the car back rolling here, but... Again, that's going to be some major issues right here. The 77 machine of Tony Edrington, one of the new drivers here tonight, looking for a good run, and this is not the way he wanted to start it. Let's go back and see where exactly everything goes wrong here. I think he's going to get turned out of line from that inside. The question is, who did he have behind him here? I believe that's going to be Tyler Vickery, who he's got sitting just behind him there. And sure enough, it looks that way. Watch it from chopper view first. Yeah, that's Vickery in the 28 here. And so as they come off of turn 2, Vickery's trying to push him up to Teresa Spiker in the 70. Problem is for Tyler here, he's getting a little bit offset as they come off the corner. That's a very sketchy area to push at. As the car's kind of unloading, getting a little offset, they start to get kind of offset of each other. And then as Vickery tries to go line the 77 back up, he was just a little too far up, and he clips his right rear. And that sends the 77 pretty much dead right into the wall. And for Steve Sizemore, nowhere to go here. In fact, he's going to get kind of etched into the back bumper. That 77 machine, I don't know if that's what stopped him so quick, but boy, that was certainly a pretty odd look, the way those two cars came to a halt. And watch it again here. A bit of a different view. Watch how quickly these two cars stop. I mean, it didn't minimize the damage because right there's a big hit, but then as Sizemore gets collected, I mean, these guys go from 190 to a complete halt, and even backwards there in a matter of probably 100 yards or so. You see the 77 right here. This is where I thought was maybe stuck in the wall for a minute. And he may have been, but either way, he was able to roll out of it eventually. Just a tough break, though. I mean, nothing egregious by either driver. The 77's just holding on for all he can. Edrington, Vickery, kind of the one who's in charge of taking care of him right here. And for Vickery, just gets a little bit out of shape. Not on purpose, but just kind of that trying to feel out where you can push where you can. And, you know, maybe on a cooler track temp, those two don't get that out of shape of each other. But in this case, they do. And, you know, the other part of that, obviously, for Tyler Vickery is, you know, at least experiment. Get it over with now, right? You'd much rather see that happen in a heat where there's not as much on the line versus happen in the race. You're potentially taken out of a shot to win or potentially taken out of money if that something like that were to happen, say, on the last lap. But either way, give you another perspective of this here. We'll go to the backstretch cam and watch his, you know, initially here, this is another one where kind of like what we saw in the first one. Lucky that this didn't collect more than it did. I mean, that's kind of in the middle of the pack, and usually when you see somebody get shot into the outside safer barrier, they're going to go right back, bounce off of it, and come straight back down the track. Wasn't the case this time, so again, everybody kind of gets a little bit of a bailout in that sense. But overall, again, a tough break for Edrington as he takes that big hit off the inside wall. The aid of Steve Sizemore, again, one of the drivers who used to run with Piper Motorsports, made a somewhat recent transfer over to the Roughneck Racing side, and the way that he wanted to start here tonight, but a very good-looking paint scheme for that number 8 machine nonetheless. So it does seem like SDK's being a little bit uncooperative here just with getting us back live, so you might see me briefly popping up the UI as I just did there. No harm, no foul. Is 7 laps to go here. I believe we're going to go back green with right around 5 laps to go. We'll have to see if that is indeed the case. It looks like we've got a couple more people in the chat. Matt Metler from Redline Racing Network in here. Good to see you, Matt. See you out on the racetrack. And in fact, just a brief update on how the broadcaster on track is doing. Right now has himself sitting in the 12th position. He's up 9 spots from where he started this race at, the 311 machine, so he's got a little bit of work to do, but certainly trending in the right direction as of now. Looks like Lisa W., good to see you in here. And John Darnell says, thanks for the broadcast, Austin. Let's go 99. Absolutely, John. We appreciate you tuning in. By the way, I think last time I checked, PGR was just 4 subs away from that magical 500 number. That opens up a bunch of things for us, so it's really important that we get there, especially before the upcoming PGR 500. We are setting a lot of things up. The broadcast team for the feature, it's going to be a good one. I'm tempted. I want to give away some of the details, but we're going to hold off a little bit longer. But we have got a superstar of a lineup and a mix of PGR. You know what? No, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to give away too many details just yet. We'll hold on for now, but a lot of good things coming up on the Money Racing side. I always feel like January and February is a good time for really anything in terms of sim racing. You got, of course, some of the big events in iRacing coming up with the 24 Hours of Daytona. I know a lot of drivers in here are making teams with their same Money Racing teams to go run those events. And, of course, you got Super Bowl coming up about a month's time, maybe a little bit longer. I know it's sometime early to mid-February. And then you've got the Daytona 500 in February as well. A great time for racing all around, whether it's iRacing, real life. We are glad that everybody is a part of it. Okay, so lights are back off on the pace car. Top 5 going to be Daniel Falkingham, Nash Brambilla, Stephen Miles alongside Nathan Harper, and then Sean Corbett going to be rounding out the top 5 right here. And again, it's going to be 5 laps to go. So these guys still have some time to make moves and still plenty of time for something to happen here. So we'll have to see how it all pans out. But I think I would keep an eye here. If I had to make a pick, and it's tough because I could pick pretty much anybody in this heat here that still has a shot at it. In these next gens, you'd be amazed how far from the back to how far to the front you can go in such a short amount of time. But I mean, I'm looking a little bit further back here. I'm kind of looking right around the John Ellis Jr. area. I think maybe him and Chris Melton have a pretty good shot at it from where they sit. The only thing that's going to be in their way, though, is getting up to that high lane. But it just seems like being the leader on these next gens, coming to that white flag is not the best place to be. I was always a fan of sitting second. We didn't see Malik Gray try this, but I still think one of the best moves I've ever seen somebody make in these next gens is what Kyler Wynn pulled in the 2024 PGR 500. Coming to the checkered, he set it up, pushed the guy out in front, and then made the move. So think about doing that here if you're one of these drivers. If you're the lead pusher on that outside, see if you can save enough temps to tandem your guy away, coming off of turn 4, and then make the move and not have to worry about anybody else behind. Here we go. 5-lap sprint to the side. Heat number 2. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. It's a good restart for the 48 of Daniel Falkingham. Is he going to jump to the high side? Not yet. Looks like for now he's content with giving some draft to his teammate Stephen Miles. We'll see if he jumps up in front of the 23 of Brambilla. Again, not yet. It's really only a 2-car tandem on that outside at the moment as Harper tries to keep him sized up. John Ellis Jr. makes the move up. Falkingham saw that quickly, covers up front. He knows the momentum's coming out back. And now can the bottom get organized quick enough? Melton pushing for all he's worth. I don't know if he's quite going to have enough. And no, they get separated. That's really going to hurt this inside line here. John Ellis Jr., though, he thought about it. He gave a quick look there to maybe jump it down further back. A little bit of misalignment here. Nagels is going to look to the bottom on Harper. Now he jumps up, and all of a sudden, everybody's going to bail out of the inside as they all try to look up top. Who stays on the bottom here? It's like one of the drivers that may have decided to stay on the bottom right now is that 24 machine. Is that Nathan Harper? No, Nathan Harper a little bit further back. I was looking more so right around where Devin Ramsey currently sits. And that 14 machine, and man, this is getting really, really dicey. Connor Cunningham, though, in the 24. Currently the car leading the bottom. Problem is he just doesn't have any help. He's going to need to find some soon, though, as we're coming to 3 laps to go. And they cross the line next time. Stephen Miles makes that jump back down to the bottom. Now he's got a teammate, Cody Nagels. These two know how to push. They've got to get locked up, and there they go. They'll get locked up. John Ellis Jr., he likes what he sees, so he'll jump down. Harper tried to do the same as well. Actually, he's looking for a side draft, but he's not going to get the 48 or the 23 to bite. Falkingham's got to stay up top. That opens it up for Nagels to now move to the high side. Coming to 3 laps to go around Talladega Superspeedway for heat race number 2. And oh man, Nagels with a big move right there. He had to cover a big run coming back from Teresa Spiker. And now she's got herself up to 4th on the outside. Bottom has now drawn even. John Ellis Jr. looking to maybe go out in front if he can get there. Will he jump up? Yes, he will. Will Falkingham split? No, he won't. Falkingham going to choose to work with the 21 of John Ellis Jr. for the moment. Remember, they've still got to make it to the white flag. That is a lap and a half away. As the 48 back to the bottom, Falkingham looking for a little under and over right here on John Ellis Jr. Will he be able to get it? He does. He gets clear, but he's not going to jump up, not yet. Content to stay with the push from his teammate, Stephen Miles. And now Nagels is going to look a lane higher. Teresa Spiker, boy, she's looked really, really good here. Pushing in these cars so far tonight, but can she give Cody Nagels enough right here to get them to the front? John Ellis Jr. is going to cover as we now see just 2 laps to go here at the high banks. Nagels back down to the middle. He's looking for a bit of a side draft, maybe some more help. Can't seem to get any. Stephen Miles back to the inside. He leaves his teammate to dry as Nathan Harper now going to give a shove to the 48 up top. Man, if you're either one of these lead pushers right here, I don't know what you do. I thought the outside would be the better lane, but they just keep switching back and forth, and now they are all over the place further back. I don't know if they're going to make it back to the white flag. Brambilla gets up into the wall. The 8 of Steve Sizemore goes low. Brambilla hard into the outside wall. That's going to end his chances right here as he's dropping back quickly. Looks like he is okay, though. Meanwhile, up front, still 3 wide out back. Single filing a little bit now for about the first 5 to 6 cars. And here we go. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go in heat number 2. One of Stephen Miles still out in front. 1 turned out back. Looked like that might have been the 27 machine went around of Kevin Price. It doesn't matter now. There will not be a caution. Stephen Miles, what is he thinking right here? Is he going to stay up top? Can Chris Melton push him all the way home? Harper's pushing for all he's worth on the bottom. And boy, Falkingham just about drew even right there. Now they're actually going to move out in front. Falkingham gets clear at a pivotal time, but what will he do? He's going to stay on the bottom for now. Miles is going to get split, and oh man, this might set Harper up for the perfect move. Trying to tandem the 48 off of 4. Yeah, he's not going to be able to do it here. Ellis is getting a draft. Will he have a chance to make another move? Harper, he's got to make one more look at it. If he's going to go, he's got to go now. There he goes. Falkingham's going to cover. Harper looks a lane higher. No move there. Harper's going to take out Ellis. Daniel Falkingham beats them all back to the line, and he takes heat number 2 here at Talladega. Well, big blocks have been the name of the game here on the last lap in these next gens for heat 1 and heat 2. It worked out for Kyler Wynn, and it works out for Daniel Falkingham as well. And we'll have to see how these guys respond to it in the main. I mean, what do you do? These are the kind of cars where you can block that aggressive. There's really not much consequence. They can take a push a lot better than the other series cars can, and whether you like it or not, that was a good move there by Falkingham to hold everybody off. He is your Heat 2 winner. All right, so as we await the results here, and I believe these drivers may get a brief warm-up. We'll get more on that here in just a moment. Go ahead and show you what it's looking like right here from TV1. In fact, let's see if we can go to TV3. So here you go. Harper's going to take a shot at it. He's waiting right here. He goes. Falkingham, I mean, that was about as quick of a block as you could probably make, and unfortunately, it looks like it is going to cut us straight to the race, so we're not going to get an opportunity to see how that replay played out, but either way here, as we get ready to line these guys up, as again we go back live, we'll have to see if this is a grid up or a warm-up, and it appears that it is indeed a warm-up. So these guys going to have a chance, probably about 5 minutes or so, to get their tires warmed up, get a little more practice before we go back green. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll turn a little music back on here, put a timer on, and we will be back for the feature in just about 5 minutes time. Stick with us as you're watching the Madness Money Racing Series here on PGR eSports. Hello everybody and welcome back to Roughneck Racing's Madness Money Racing Series, live here tonight from Talladega Superspeedway. 2 heats complete. That means that we are ready to get going for the featured event here tonight. Let's get right down trackside and take a look at tonight's starting grid. And again, this is for the feature event. It was determined by the order that you finished in the heats, and everybody from both heats did make the feature. Kyler Wynn, Heat 1 winner. He'll start on the pole here tonight. Daniel Falkingham, Heat 2 winner, to his outside in second. Mark Vondell, Samuel Carter going to be back in row 2. Matthew Baker and Cody Nagels in row 3, with Jeff Merck and Connor Cunningham in row 4. Rounding out the top 10 here tonight going to be Josh Gambrone alongside John Ellis Jr. And it's Kevin Cullen Jr. back in the 11th spot. Tyler Vickery will start to the outside of row number 6 in 12th. Back in 13th, we find the Nightmare Esports driver Chase Mastretta. We'll see what he can do here tonight. Nathan Harper starts 14th. Chris Blanchard 15th. James Wagner 16th. It's going to be Landon Velicky alongside his teammate Stephen Miles in row 9. Row 10 going to be Malik Ray alongside Devin Ramsey. Starting back in the 21st spot, it's going to be Ambrose Kniebel, Teresa Spiker in 22nd. John Ward 23rd, Sean Corbett 24th. Moving on back to row 13 here tonight. And starting in that 25th spot, John Darnell, Steve Sizemore 26th. Zachariah Cartledge going to start in the 27th spot. Chris Melton, 28th. Jonathan Herbert, 29th. Edward Fiedler rounding out your top 30. Jason Lyon and Matt Mettler start back in row 16. Brian Hennings, Ron Hunter in row 17 with James Waring, Tony Edrington in row 18. And it's going to be Matt Lee alongside Kevin Prince in row 19. Ethan Eckert, Naz Brambilla in row 20. Tucker McClendon and AMR Saleh rounding out the field here tonight. Those last two, not actual drivers, they will be up in race control, helping get the job done from the tower and hoping that this race is clean and green. Here we go. Full field and a lot of money on the line. Time to go racing at Talladega. Green flag is in the air. We are underway in the Madness Money Racing Series.
Caution is out.
Trouble further back. First caution already here on lap 1 before they even got up to speed. One in the wall. That's the 66 of Edward Fiedler. Not sure if that was the one car that we saw jump out of line there in the half spin, or if that was somebody else and then just got collected. Either way, I think it was Fiedler who was the car that we saw get out of line. Early trouble here tonight. You hope that's not a sign of what's to come, especially if you're anybody towards the back of the field, because it seems like that's usually the most treacherous place to be, these next-gen cars. And it looks like the suspension's knocked out of line, and it is. That's pretty bad right there. We're going to have to see if he's able to limp this thing around. Either way, though, for Fiedler, that is not a good start. Now, the good news that I did want to mention, we mentioned it in the heats when we talked about what the overall race info would look like here tonight, is that you do have a fast repair, something that we don't see as much on the money racing side anymore. But that's the big advantage here. All Fiedler needs to do is limp this thing back to the pits, and he will still have a shot at it by taking that fast spray. Let's go back and look, see what happened, though, to bring out your first caution of the night. All right, so we go back here, get a bit of a zoomed-in shot for you here, and watch. It's going to be a stack-up. That's exactly what it is here. See the 49 of Melton pushing his teammate, Steve Sizemore, and you're going to see top left of your screen. Watch, there's going to be just a little bit of a checkup. We're going to see Sizemore running Teresa Spiker. The car just out of view there on the left side of your screen, about half in view. Melton's going to run into his teammate right there. Now that's stacking him back up to Fiedler, who's going to have to get on the brakes here. Matt Mettler is going to have to do the same. Tries to line Fiedler up for a pretty good shot. Doesn't quite work out as well. He gets Fiedler into the 49. That gets Melton out of shape. Melton's actually the car that we saw go back up the racetrack right there. And then you see Fiedler get turned around ultimately, and this thing's going to slide back up. Ooh, boy, he got tagged big time. The right front suspension right there by James Waring before he shot back up the racetrack. That's really all that was a big checkup. And, I mean, it's, I think the most surprising part about that is just to see that big of a checkup this early on. I mean, everybody's still trying to get up to speed, so it's almost, like I said, in an interesting way, it's kind of surprising. You just usually don't see a checkup that big on the first lap. That's what we saw there. But for Chris Melton, you wondered how bad the damage is. Certainly the front end of that James Wagner's Welding Ford Mustang caved in quite a bit, so he may have to go in for some repairs here. Let's watch it again here from a bit of a different view. This is going to be from the blimp cam, and again, just watch the checkup. This one will be in full speed, show you how quick things happen here. And I don't know if somebody just briefly missed a shift. I mean, they're not quite up to 5th gear by that point. And in fact, since we can, we'll go ahead and see if we can give you a replay here on board with the car that it looks like may have had the biggest issue in sparking this checkup. And let's see here, as they get into the corner, Teresa really backs it down. So it's if there's something to happen, if there's anybody that I think maybe missed a shift here, it would be Teresa. When I say missed a shift, I don't mean she completely just missed the shift entirely. It would just be maybe she was a little bit late on it, or maybe she just checked up. Only way to find out is to go back and look at it here from the cockpit view. Let's see. Take a listen to our RPMs and watch the gearing there. Oh, that's going to answer your question right there. Look how long she's in 3rd here. I'm not sure what was going on here for Teresa, but listen. Right there, she's hitting the rev limiter. She's still hitting the rev limiter. She's just riding that 3rd gear rev limiter and is never able to find 4th. That's what creates that checkup and ultimately leads to the big stack up here that takes out a few of them, including Chris Melton and Edward Fiedler. And for Melton here, there's a couple of big shots. Watch as he gets turned down. Tried to save it, but gets tagged by the 87 Herbert. Mettler, big damage. Boy, Mettler got wedged into the wall. You see that car fly up onto the safer barrier. I mean, that destroys about every inch of that race car. Initially, there looks like some of the components started to tack back on. James Waring had heavy damage as well. I mean, this is all around a big incident for this early on. It looked like initially it maybe only had collected one, but if we go back and look at some of these other views, you can see it was 3 to 4 with significant damage. Here's that view for Matt Metler, and watch this. Bam! Nowhere to go, and then gets up on his side. Oh, man, that is just not the way that you want to start the race here. Give you one more view of this here if we can. From Zachariah Cartledge's view, and watch this. Bottom of the racetrack, he's going to see it. Watch Fiedler. Whoa! Oh my goodness, how did Cartledge miss this one? I mean, he just barely snuck down to the inside. And I'll tell you what, the roll bar view didn't do that enough justice. Watch this one more time here. We're going to go to the nose shot. This is as far up on the car as you can go. And watch how close this was to being a direct T-bone and major damage right there. Man, sees the 49 as, whew, boy, that is about as close as it gets. He saw the 49 and Melton spinning low, decided to take that miss, and that helps him out big time. Here's what it looked like from the zoomed-in shot. Look at this. Man, the 82 just jumps out. In fact, there might have even been a little bit of netcode contact with how close those two got, but I think Steve Sizemore gets away from that one. So as we go back live now, the front of the field, Daniel Falkingham being scored as your current leader. And again, Falkingham, the winner of heat number 2. Kyler Wind right now in second. And you've got Samuel Carter back in the 3rd spot, Mark Vondell 4th, Cody Nagels 5th, Matthew Baker in 6th, with Connor Cunningham in 7th, Josh Gambro in 8th, Jeff Merck in 9th, and Ken McCullough Jr. rounding out your top 10. All right, time to get back to green flag racing right here. By the way, fuel and tires could play a factor in a few things here in a little bit. Fuel at about 50% should get these cars, as long as you're running in the draft, to right around 20 laps. So it's not quite a one-stopper just yet unless you save. That's where things could get a little interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then, of course, tire wear with a relatively hot track temp. We saw what it was in the heats. Looks like it's cooled down a bit, now down to 116 degrees. Still hot enough, though, where we get to about the halfway point in this race. If we ran a lot of green flag laps, maybe some drivers that are thinking about taking 4 fresh tires and getting some more grip to these race cars. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air. 5 of 50 laps complete here at Talladega, and it's a great restart for the 48 of Daniel Falkingham. Pretty much what you see anytime now on a restart in these next gens. The guy on the inside gets a jump. He jumps right up to the high side. He wants to be the Pied Piper here at Talladega. We'll see if Kyler Wind is willing to work with him. Vondell, he'll slide up 3rd in that line. And Matthew Baker, he's going to stay down for now as they race on to the backstretch. Now Matthew Baker works his way up to the high side, and boy, watch this. He's going to get linked up here with John Ellis Jr. They are going to have a massive run. We're going to see where they take this here. Does he keep it, or does he try to take it to the middle or to the outside? Yeah, the run kind of died out when Baker got there, but he's going to look to the outside here. Vondell's got to be careful. That 5 car may be looking to split him now. The whole outside, though, in relatively good agreement right there to side draft the inside. It works out well. And that's going to push the 48 back to the point now, but 7 of Malik Ray, he looks like he's ready to go. Nagels, whoa, man, Cody tried to slide up. That didn't work. Almost got into Mark Vondell. Now there's more trouble. Vondell trying everything he can to hold on to this race car. Boy, that was a couple of really close calls right there. It looks like they're all going to save it, at least for now. They're still trying to hold on Vondell. Not sure if he's having a little bit of an issue with the pushing out back or some sort of connection issue, but the car not looking as stable as it normally does. And Mark Vondell right now, he'll get it back organized here. They're still 3 wide a little bit further back here. Josh Gambron trying to push Cody Nagels after Nagels made that aggressive move, and I think what Nagels was trying to do was sneak clear of the top. He didn't quite get it there, so it didn't work out for him in this case, but that's kind of practice. I mean, you know, we see guys making these same moves in trucks and Xfinity cars. The problem is these next gens, the runs, they're so big and they come so quick that you might be clear 1 second on the high side. Next thing you know, you're going to the back because you got split. You didn't quite have enough to jump clear when you make that move. Here's the first onboard look here tonight. We're going to look at Tyler Vickery, who is already now in a second pack as we've grown a little bit of separation here. He's right now pushed on the back bumper of Sean Corbett. Driver out of Orlando, Florida, trying everything he can to help this line make some progress. It's not really working out too well at the moment. Still plenty of time for that group to try to go to the front, and then you look a little bit closer towards that front pack. You find one of the NBG Motorsports teammates, Jeff Merck, the driver out of Punta Gorda, Florida, right now running on the high side. Looks like 3rd in line, sitting behind Falkingham and Kylo Wynn. And normally his job would be just kind of ride around, make sure you keep Falkingham close But in this car, that job increases a little bit more, and now all of a sudden it becomes try to push Falkingham as long as he's got temps. Keep that 5-car tandem going, but man, the RPMs right there for Jeff Merck in the red coming down the front stretch. I mean, that is absolutely flying to show that kind of speed. Now they'll have to check up briefly as Malik Ray is going to go to the point in that number 7 machine as we go back now to the TV shots. Some of the speeds that these cars are running here tonight. I mean, these guys are pushing really, really aggressive this early, and as they rocket down the Alabama gang backstretch, almost 203 miles an hour right there, getting off into turn number 3. I mean, again, these guys are flying on a track that's relatively hot. And now Stephen Miles is going to line up John Ward for a push. Kyler Wynn wants none of it, so he will drop down to the middle here. Can he get any help? Not yet. He's looking to see if anybody will jump down with him. Mark Vondell's creeping, and he will go. Vondell in the 59 going to choose to go with these two. Now we see a bit of a side draft there a little bit further back. I believe that might have been from Chase Mastretta right there. Boy, this is just, I mean, this is a mad dash for any position. It's, you know, I know that these guys have a fast spare, but again, you still got quite a bit in this race. I mean, we're expecting at least one, probably two green flag pit stops at this time, but at this rate, I don't know if we'll make it to any of them. The way these guys are going at it either way. We are just about a fifth of the way through this race. We will be when they cross the line this time. And still 3 by 3 up front, though, leading the way. It's Malik Ray, and he's been getting pushed by no other than the 85 of Samuel Carter, who has been doing a phenomenal job here tonight. Got a second place finish in his heat. Got him this starting position. Now the 85. Proving that sometimes it's not always about being the most aggressive, but just being the most consistent. Samuel Carter is another driver who has been on the rise as of late here in the Money Racing scene. He's been figuring it out, and that's going to catch a lot of teams' eyes. A driver that usually, I believe, might work with Ethan Eckert. Don't quote me on that, but certainly seems to be filling into his shoes here really, really quickly is now Matthew Baker in the PGR Light Machine, the number 5 PGR Light Machine, if you will. He's going to try his hand here, try to get to the front. Kyler Wynn on his inside. Boy, that is a dangerous duo that just got locked up there in the middle, but it's the same way up top. They've got 3 cars pushing, though. Falkingham not laying off the bumper of Matthew Baker, doing everything he possibly can to try to get this 5 car to maybe jump to the inside or just maybe get this outside to start being dominant so he can work on these temps a little bit. He has not had the opportunity just yet. Still, again, 40 laps to go in this race. It's just now 11 of 50 complete, but I mean, they are jockeying for position all the way back through this lead pack, which doesn't go all the way through the field. It breaks off right around Josh Gambro and Brian Hennings, who currently sit in the 25th, 26th positions. And it's Matt Lee again who's leading that second pack. Right now he's in 27th. Corbett, Tyler Vickery, Jonathan Herbert, Chris Melton, Nashburn, Bill, Edward Fiedler's trouble. One around on the backstretch. It's Josh Gambro here. As Gambro, can he hold on? The 49. Some damage to the left front, but it looks like for the rest of it, he saved it. Second caution of the night falls with 11 of 50 laps complete. And, ooh, for Gambro there, I thought maybe he blinked out for a second, but it appears he's back. Getting reports that Chase Mastretta may have potentially been involved in this incident as well, so let's go back and look at it here briefly. See if we can figure out exactly what goes wrong. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be coming off of turn number 2. Now, Gambro already had that left front damage, so whatever that was not from this incident. I'll have to see if he got any more here. So that's Steve Sizemore up on the high side, last car in line, and then again, Josh Gambro, last car in line in the middle. So come off turn 2. There's a bit of checking up out front. You can certainly see that much. I'm not sure if that was another issue. We'll look at that in a minute. But either way, further back here for Gambro, and he just washes up. Not sure if it was a reaction to something that he saw out in front or what, but as he washes up, just gets into Steve Sizemore. I think the other, maybe thought right there would be that he was trying to jump behind Steve Sizemore. Either way, misjudges it. Once he gets into the 8, that turns him down into Teresa Spiker. There's nothing she can do. She might actually hold on to this race car. She does. It's a hell of a save for Teresa Spiker. Josh Gambro as well. He had to do some acrobatics right there, spinning the car a few different ways before he was able to straighten it out, but both of them go without hitting anything, so that's good news there. Now, I do want to go to the cockpit view here for Gambro, and let's see if he saw something out in front that made him react that way, or if he was just trying to maybe jump up in line here behind Sizemore. Watch out in front. Ooh, see one get turned out of line. I think that was Malik Ray, and a lot of checking up. I don't know if it was a direct reaction to that, though. It's too hard to call. Either way, I think that's just Gambro and drifting up. There's the contact, and it's on from there. Now, I do want to actually go take one look at this event, or this near incident, maybe I should call it, that happened up front, because for Malik Ray, this looked like this was really, really close. Let's see if it was Malik or somebody else here gets turned out of line. Watch the neon green, black, and white machine from Malik Ray. It's going to be him that gets shoved out of line right there. Oh, no, it's Samuel Carter. And then Chase Mastretta has to do the same. They all save it, though. That's the good news there is Mastretta, they're still checking up here, trying to figure it out, but I believe they all do. As Chase going to take a little bit of a detour here. It looks like, though, that they all do hold on. So a nice job right there by the front pack to not get themselves further involved in this incident. Josh Gambrone here. I don't even know if he's going to have to bother using his fast spare on this. It wasn't all that bad. Here's the look from TV1. Watch that 70 machine, the purple and gold car of Teresa Spiker. Look at this. I mean, this car is 45 degrees facing the wall. She's getting ready to slam that outside wall drive straight into it. She not only straightens it out, but also avoids a spinning Josh Gambrone just in front of her. And then straightens that thing right back out, keeps going like nothing happened. Again, that is a heck of a save for Spiker, Gambrone, and Sizemore. Everybody keeping their act together here and keeping those cars clean. Or clean enough, I should say. Maybe go in for some minor repairs, some dents and scrapes, but certainly not enough to impact your race to a point where you can't return. So again, a really, really lucky break there. And what brings out, again, your second caution here of the night. All right, as we go back live up front, lights on the pace car still on. Falkingham, your leader. Matthew Baker second. With Kyler Wynn third. John Ward fourth. And Jeff Merck currently rounding out your top five. And, I mean, 50 laps complete. And so far, it's been pretty chaotic. I mean, we've had some good racing, but, man, I almost think if you're not at the front of this pack, I'd chill out for a little bit. Normally, you know, if we're in the Xfinity or trucks, it's try to get to the front from the drop of the green. But with what we're seeing so far, I wouldn't say that we're done with Rex by any means just yet. And we still have an opportunity for at least one. And in fact, if you look at it now, it's only going to be one green flag stop if we even have that. And we would expect that somewhere right around lap 30, lap 33. And again, that would get you to the end of this race. So as we await the lights to go off on the pace car, we will be back in just about 20 to 30 seconds. Stick with us as we get ready to get back to green flag racing here at Talladega. All right, and welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Apologies. Again, I might have mentioned it at the tip of the broadcast, but I am a bit sick still. Hoping to get better pretty soon, but again, excited to be out here. But that is why we had to take a quick break, go get myself a drink of water here. Get ready for these guys to get right back to the action. It's been fun so far here tonight, and we still have a lot of green flag racing to go. So if you're just tuning in, number one, we appreciate you being here. But number two, if you want to talk in the chat, we certainly do take a look at it. And also at the same time, don't forget, if you have not followed us yet, we're getting really, really close to that 500 mark. As a matter of fact, next break, I'll take a look and see where we are. But that is the big milestone that we're looking for here at PGR eSports, 500 subs. And that will, again, get us the YouTube partnership program. It'll allow a lot more things on our end along with your guys' end. And it looks like as it stands right now, we are still at 496, so just 4 subs away. And with that, we will turn it back over to the action on track. Here we go. The iRacing.com pace car going to make the left turn. And this will set us up for what's going to be, looks like 36 laps to go here at the fastest track in all of stock car racing. Falkingham, watch for him to maybe look for a little bit of another jump right here. See if he can get right in front of the 5 of Matthew Baker. Will he go for it? Not this time. Wow, interesting. Falkingham on the gas a little bit late. He's going to wait for Kyler Wynn to set him up for a push here. 60 of Jeff Merck. Can he get there as well? He can, but it's not going to matter. This outside got 3-car tandemed up just as quick, if not a little quicker. Now look, he breaks off a little bit, though. They got to stay connected. This first lap in these cars, it is all about who can stay connected the most. How about the 99 machine of John Darnell? He's made his way up here. The 99, maybe with a chance here to jump out 3 wide. If he thinks about it, the question would be, will anybody go with him? There's two mindsets here. Again, be aggressive, go to that outside. If you lead that top lane, you're going to the front, but you can also make some enemies in the process. So for right now, John Darnell, I think he's okay with just kind of riding around. More than happy with where he stands at the moment, as you see Nathan Harper behind him. But if anybody goes to the middle, watch for that 99 to maybe jump high as, whoa, big stack up there. The 60 of Merck's going to actually be the car that gets split out instead. Boy, that could have been a whole lot worse right there. That was a big, big moment, but a heck of a save by Jeff Merck. He's still getting past here as he's waiting for anybody to cut him a break here so he can get back in line. You see the 26, Nathan Lyons, not going to do it. The 74, Brian Hennings, won't either. Matt Lee is finally going to pick him up. Blanchard there as well. And these three are going to try to tag on back to that lead pack and extend as they've got all sorts of spreading out back here. You see the 04 of Ambrose Knievel along with Malik Ray, Chris Melton, and multiple others that are no longer with this lead pack. They're going to have to go to work here, and they're going to have to do it quickly. So easy to lose the lead draft in these next gens, especially if everybody gets organized, which it seems like they're starting to do. You see that long single file train. The further back it goes, the more single file they get. Up front, though, Kyler Wynn taking another peek to the outside. Samuel Carter, he's going to jump down low. Cody Nagels still up top. Here comes the run. John Ward, can he push him to the front? Wynn looks for a block. Cody Nagels says no thank you. Oh, man, watch out. Wynn gets to the apron. Kyler Wynn on the apron. He's going to have to save it as he'll work back up as they get onto the backstretch. I'm not sure what happened there for Kyler Wynn. Either way, he'll fall in the back of the pack. Cody Nagels going to go to the point. The ERA 2024 Omega Cup Spring Bowl winner. He knows how to get the job done here at a track like Talladega Superspeedway. He's done it before. He's going to be looking to do it again here tonight. Again, though, he still has a lot of work to do. And I think if you're this front pack, maybe you weren't earlier, but now you're starting to eye down that green flag pit stop. Starting to maybe talk to these guys a little bit, saying, hey, listen, we have broken away from that lead pack, fellas. Let's get organized here. If we can do that, we've got a good opportunity to get back up here. Or, excuse me, to keep those guys back there. We can try to make something happen after the green flag pit stops. Now, of course, if you're that second pack, which it looks like Kyler Wynn has fallen back to, well, we're going to scratch that because it doesn't matter. Caution is out. Trouble. Steve Sizemore has went around and looks like he has immediately towed it back to the pits. Getting some reports here that Ron Hunter may have been involved as well. Oh, big damage to the right front of the 6 machine. Wow, boy, he's trying to get that car back to the pits. That thing's hopping all over the place. Look at the right front quarter panel. Just keeps bouncing off. I have never seen that either. It's been a first for a couple things tonight in iRacing, and I've never seen one do that. See that right front wobbling all over the place, but again, I've never quite seen a quarter panel just continue to fly off the car over and over. Usually it either reattaches or stays off, but that's not the case right now for the 6. So Ron Hunter is going to bring it around. We'll see if he takes the fast repair, and I guess hopefully when he gets into his box, the quarter panel, oh man, I was going to say hopefully it attached back onto the car, but fortunately it finally went. There it goes. So any chance of the crew being able to put that back on is now out the window. And he's going to have to take his fast repair right here and now. And I believe he still has one. A couple drivers were in an earlier incident. I don't think Ron Hunter was one of them, but as he comes down here for some repairs, let's go back and see exactly what happens here. This is going into turn 1. This is, again, this is not with the lead pack. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if this was even with the second pack. Best way to tell here is to look who's out front. Yeah, this is the second pack, actually. So I take that back, and right here, do they get 4 wide? They do. So here you go. You see the 6 of Ron Hunter. He's coming up on the 04 Ambrose Knievel. He's got a bit of a run. He's got an option here to push or try to split. He's going to try to go with the split option here. That puts him 4 wide. Ambrose may have wiggled just a little bit. And when he did, that may have hit the 6 up into the 1. Or excuse me, the 8 of Steve Sizemore, rather. And then that's going to send Sizemore along with the 6 for a ride. And then look at this. Bam! There's the big hit for both cars as they slid right up the banking. And well, we are lucky that that was not a whole lot worse. When you have 2 cars coming back up onto the track like that, it's usually never ends well, but kind of lucky that they went up and back down right as there was a break in the pack. That certainly kept things from being a whole lot worse. Let's watch this again here. A bit of a different angle here because we didn't quite see what I wanted to see right here, which was, did Ambrose wiggle a little bit? And if he did, it may have been just a little bit of net code that bumps that 6 car up the track. Let's see here. All right, so watch the 04. Does he wiggle just a little bit here? As you see, the 6 of Ron Hunter goes up. They're good there. There's the little bit of movement from Ambrose. And, boy, it's really, really hard to call if maybe just a little bit of netcode pushed the 6 up just enough to get into Sizemore, or if the 6 of Ron Hunter saw the 04 coming up and tried to move just enough so that they wouldn't make contact and just didn't recognize it. It's really, really tough to call. Might be able to get a bit of a better look here from the onboard view, so let's look at it from that shot. Let's see here. Watch it here and see what his wheel movements are like. So he's going to go 4. And it's too hard for me to tell. I think it may have just been him steering up a little bit. But there very well could have been a slight bit of netcode contact. But man, right there, that wasn't netcode. That was full-blown contact. And man, the 66 of Fiedler just barely able to sneak by that one. And this is where it got really ugly. This is where you start to get worried. Right here, these two are fine. That's it. They have straightaway to go. They're okay. It's not too bad. This is where you get nervous. As they go back up, just not able to lock the brakes up, not stop anytime soon. Look at that hit. I mean, that car bounces off the wall, all 4 tires in the air. Sizemore gets into that race car, and then when they slide down here for Fiedler, see the 66 going low? Boy, that was good timing any later, and 6 may have been right there. That could have been another big hit. And I don't know what I'd call that one. Maybe a little bit too much aggression. It's again, though, it's not anything anybody did wrong. It's just maybe a little bit too much aggression. I think you could obviously argue or make the question, whatever you want to call it, is, why doesn't he just push Ambrose there? Either way, he has a choice, doesn't go with it right there, and they go full wide, and there's room for that here at Talladega, but not much, and couldn't seem to find it right there. So either way, as we go back live now, getting closer to the halfway point of this 50-lap race here tonight. Jason Lyon leading the way here at Talladega. You've got Kevin Price in second with Cody Nagels third, John Ward fourth, Nathan Harper in fifth with Daniel Falkingham sixth, Matthew Baker seventh, Kevin McCullough Jr. back in eighth, Zachariah in ninth. Looks like Brian Hennings currently rounding out your top 10. Chase Mastretta just outside the top 10. So for Zachariah Cartilage, by the way, he is your second biggest mover inside the top 10. Brian Hennings is your biggest mover up. Well, I take that back. The top two are actually your biggest movers, Jason Lyon and Kevin Price, up 30 and 36 positions respectfully. And they're hoping that they can keep it there now. That's a good position to be in. To see how this all pans out, though. So for Lyon on the bottom, we'll have to see if he tries the same strategy that we've been seeing a lot of the drivers who have started on the front row on the inside do here tonight, which is get a jump, get right up to that high side. By the way, if you're just tuning in, again, we appreciate you being here. Been looking at the chat here tonight. Looks like Broken, which I believe is Zachariah Cartledge, tuning in here tonight. Bryce Fontaine says Lego Malik, Lisa W. Good to see you in here. Devin Ray, Thomas Parker says getting some New Hampshire practice in. Good to see you guys all in here. That everybody's having a good New Year's Day. Well, as we approach, I was getting ready to say, are we still in New Year's Day? But at 11:15 here on the East Coast. And by the way, just before we get back to Green Flag Racing here, don't forget, if you're looking for more money racing action, look no further than tomorrow night. The PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series, the PGR eSports 2024 Championship, and a lot of money on the line. Look at those payouts: 600 to first, 400 to second, 350 to third, 250 to fourth, 200 to fifth, and 100 to sixth. There will also be an open race. I say open, it's still a money race. You got to buy in for $15 beforehand, but no championship drivers, no championship eligible. Cannot find the words here. No championship eligible drivers are allowed to race in that race. And the winner of that race will get $100. On top of that, a free entry into the championship race. All right, here we go. The Madness Money Racing Series back underway as the green flag is back in the air at Talladega. It's a good restart. The 26 of Jason Lyon here didn't make that move up to the top. That's what I was waiting for. Thought he was going to, but didn't do anything yet. Boy, that outside really fishtailing around now. Hold on to it here, boys. And eventually some of them going to split out of line as the checkup was just getting to be a little bit too much for him. And that's two of the Jack Shack teammates, the Pro Series driver, former Coke Series driver, Malik Ray, and then Kyler Wynn in the 82. Whoa, one into the wall. Watch out, can they save it this time? They do. But I believe that was Jeff Merck who got put into the wall right there. And that was a pretty hefty hit. You got to wonder if the car's going to be okay after that here. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what that was. Was that Jeff Merck? Yes, it was. Merck seems to be okay. Look at that right front, though. That would be the big concern after that contact. Seems to be okay. So we keep it green, but whoa, watch out, Jason. Man, these guys are all over the place. And we need more camera angles at this rate here. Every time we look to the front, they get ready to wreck in the back. Every time we go to the back, they get ready to wreck in the front. But for Jason Lyon, going all the way from first back to past 20th position. In the course of just 2 laps, that's how quickly things can go south in this series. But up front now, Nathan Harper with the Cowboys scheme on. His Dark Horse Ford Mustang. 6 of Cody Nagels lining up for a run. It'd be interesting to see here how aggressive he's feeling. You see Kyler Wynn and Malik Ray lining up to the bottom. That's going to be a lot of momentum when those 3 get there. Those 2, I should say. They might need a third. As long as they stay locked up, they'll continue going forward, but it's a question of how far forward can they go. As the next closest help looks to be just behind him there. I believe that might be the 8 of Steve Sizemore. No, that's the 8 of Chase Mastretta. He's got a little bit of help from Samuel Carter, but it's not enough just yet. 24 of 50 laps complete. And whoa, that was a big move to the inside right there for the 8 of Chase Mastretta. Trying to line things back up. He does so, but it stacks him up just a little bit out back. Looks like they all hold on, and man, we're not even halfway through, and green flag pit stops are starting to look less and less likely at this rate. And I should mention that fuel window going to open right around lap 30, maybe a couple laps after if you want to play it safe for overtimes. As, oh, watch out, Cody Nagels blinks. Falkingham had him lined up for a push. Cody quickly loads back in, and boy, that could have got real dangerous real quick there, but the 2 Nightmare Esports teammates will line it back up top. And they're going to pull John Ward and a whole bunch of others that are on this high lane right now trying to make it work. Couple in the wall. Hennings, Jeff Merck's going to follow him in. And that might have been a case of guys just running a little bit too close to that outside wall as they were running through the tri-oval. They all keep it together. We are now officially halfway through this 50-lap event. That means just 25 laps to go when we cross the line this time around. You can still see some separation here between the packs. Right now, I would say this lead pack still has about 30 cars or so in it. Maybe a little bit more as it actually goes all the way back to Ambrose Kniebel in 33rd. Teresa Spiker all by herself, as is Edward Fiedler, Tony Edrington, and some of the other cars out of the race. The cars that we talked about off the pace looking for a caution here to help them get caught back up. By the way, we talked about what track temp was at the start of this race. Looks like it has cooled down even more from what it was. Now down to 114. Grip's still going to be an issue here as tires wear out, but again, not as bad as what it once was. Look at the speed here with this single file train. In theory, this is when they run their highest speeds, but if you're Falkingham here, you're not doing as much pushing as you may be if you're side by side. You're pushing Nagels down the straightaway and saving your temps through the corners. And so looking for when they're going to make that last green flag pit stop. Again, we said that the window opens pretty much any time in about, I'd say 5 to 7 laps from now, but maybe you don't go in that soon. Maybe you choose to go in a little bit later. I think if you've got enough drivers with you, maybe if you want to bail out of the chaos, you would, but it almost seems like they're starting to maybe calm things down here just a little bit now, finally, after all the chaos that we saw earlier. But here comes that second lane trying to get formed again as, whoa, stacking up big time out back. Whoa, Brent Miller's going to go around into the 14. He goes. Trouble. Caution is out. Looks like it's going to collect Devin Ramsey, the 99 to John Darnell, and one more here. It's just Nash Brambilla. No, maybe that was it. 3 cars in total. Ramsey, Darnell, and Brambilla. Tough break there is 24 laps to go. Boy, this is going to be really close to putting us in that fuel window now. We'll get more on that in just a moment, but boy, that wreck caught you off guard so much that didn't think we would normally catch one of those with how far to the back it was, but you almost could see it coming because watch this checkup that starts up here. This is what really kind of caught my eye here and almost made me turn the camera as quick as I did. As they start stacking this up all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere towards the front of the field. So watch as you get further up here. See where this stack up all starts at, and watch how it kind of evolves and how it gets worse the further back you go. All right, so this is coming off of 4 here. Malik and Kyler line up. It's a little bit of a stack up, and then as you get further back here, as they get into the tri-oval, there you go. Right there, right around where Stephen Miles was running is where that checkup really starts to get bad. They're just running so close to each other here, and I don't know, for John Ellis Jr. here, let's see. Go to the chopper view. Is that kind of where the checkup first sparks for him? Or does he get run into from out back? Here we go. This is the chopper view. Watch John Ellis Jr. there in the blue and red 21 right there. Ooh, he gets into Blanchard, and then they start stacking him up out back. So that's how it gets sparked, and then eventually gets back to Nash Brambilla, John Darnell and company, and some big hits here. And initially, I thought Brambilla was going to save it here, as right there he gets turned. by the 99, and he's trying to save it, but just a little bit of an overcorrection here. And as he gets back up, gets hit again by the 99 of Darnell, and lets both himself and the 14. But boy, Josh Gambro, I don't know how he snuck through that one. Position he was in looked like he was going to get the brunt of it, but he somehow saved it. Watch it from a couple other angles here. Almost just kind of waits for the seas to part right there. I mean, that's the way to do it. Watch this for Josh Gambro, and he's the 49 machine. That Corona car. Right here, look at this. Slows up just enough. Well, maybe some slight contact, but certainly not enough to damage that race car substantially by any stretch of the imagination. Man, oh man. 23 in Ashburn Villa. I feel like it's not really been his night so far. I mean, he's still got time to turn it around, but just one of these deals that can kind of happen sometimes as a byproduct of being towards the back, as these big checkups, you're not really ready for them, and things can go south so quickly here. Watch it from the drone cam. So we'll give you 2 more angles, and then 1 more from the starter cam after this. That's a big, big hit for the 14. You see a lot of suspension components and a couple other things get broken on impacts like that. And then final shot here that we'll look at going to be from the starter cam, and he got a pretty good look at it. And watch it here is coming through the tri-oval. And you see Ashburn Billy getting turned down the line. We'll play it in slow-mo for you here. Up he goes, and bam, just wedges Devin Ramsey into that outside wall. And then John Darnell, once he gets turned around, nowhere to go. We talked about, though, for Josh Gambron, a heck of a miss for the most part. Even if he got a little bit of damage, you still got to think for him that feels like a win after how close that one could have been. So let's watch this one more time. This time it'll be, though, from the onboard view of Josh Gambron, and take a look at what he saw. Oh, man. I mean, it does not get much closer than that. That's a really, really good break right there for Gambron. And if he finds himself up front at the end of this race, he might be looking back to that exact moment saying, I wonder what would have happened if I would not have missed that one. But either way, let's go back live up front. Leading the way now, it is Tyler Vickery in the number 28 car. Tyler Vickery is up 11 spots from where he started this race at. For Vickery, he does a little bit of racing himself in real life. Bomber A 4 cylinders at New Smyrna Speedway. Getting a little practice in here on the sim. Daniel Falkingham, one of the Coke Series drivers. John Ward back in 3rd. Herbert in 4th. Kyler Wynn in 5th. Malik Ray 6th. Chase Mastretta 7th with Samuel Carter in 8th. Brian Hennings in 9th. And Ken McCullough Jr. rounding out your top 10. Meme Station says, I'm glad I didn't race this, but it is good for watching. You got that right. I think I'm in the same boat here tonight. I think I'd rather be up here commentating these guys than down on the track, because it has been craziness. We do know that this will be the car featured in the PGR 500, which, by the way, is now less than a month away. Speed Week for that event kicks off on January 28th. And looking forward to that. If you're interested in watching it, racing in it, any of the details on it, go check us out on PGResports.com on Google or your preferred search browser. You can get all the information in the registration form there. Already a good amount of entries. Very well on track still to look for that number that was advertised on the flyer. Hopefully more. That's always the idea, right? Either way, looking for a great week of heat races. Of course, the duel's already sponsored by VRX. And the feature event sponsored by James Wagner's Welding. What we see in the race here tonight. Also the owner of R&R. And took a brief pause there because I looked over in the chat, and it looks like, I believe that's Zachariah Cartledge saying, what a small world. I'm racing Bomber A New Smyrna in March. We're laughing about it on the radio, so there you go. All right. 2 of the drivers in this race going to be racing together in real life. We'll see if they can work together. Man, a lot of the big names up here still very, very hungry for what is going to be some big payouts here tonight. By the way, this was based off of 45 entries, and I mean, realistically, we still came pretty darn close to this. I mean, you look at what the payouts were based off of, and again, you could subtract a little bit from these, but probably not too much. So here's what it was looking like. The payouts based off of 45 entries: 300 to 1st, 250 to 2nd, 200 to 3rd, 180 to 4th, and 165 to 5th. And then again, that $25 that went to each of the heat winners, which was already Kyler Wynn and Daniel Falkingham. So at this point, they're basically playing with house money and just trying to see how much profit they can make in one night. So it'll be 20 laps to go here now at Talladega Superspeedway. And again, that fuel window, it's really close. I would think that if you're a driver and you save fuel now, you can make it We'll have to see what they decide to do. Here we go, rolling back up into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 20 laps to go here at Talladega. Good restart by Tyler Vickery, and he's quickly going to jump to the high side of the racetrack. Falkingham lines him up for a push here as they work off towards turn number 1. Saw further back, Kyler Wynn was able to bring himself and his teammate Malik Ray up to that high side as well, leaving John Ward on the bottom all alone, but now he'll get a push from the 8 of Chase Mastretta as they exit turn 2. For Mastretta, just not quite able to get that push locked on, if you will, at the right time. They got separated, and man, that really allowed this outside line, this inside line to roll, but not quite enough. Harper, though, is going to break up, and now it's a question of how long can Falkingham tandem with Tyler Vickery right here. Oh, watch out. They start to get offset of each other. Vickery looks down for a side draft. He's going to look for another one. Can the two-car tandem of Chase Mastretta and John Ward go all the way to the front? Not quite. Vickery now starting to fight back. Falkingham has been locked on to the back bumper of this 28 car for about a lap now. And at some point, you know that they're both going to have to back off to cool their temps. Both the 8 of Chase Mastretta and the 48 of Falkingham. It's kind of a game of chicken. Who's going to do it first? Whoever backs off first, that line's going to lose momentum. And it looks like it's not going to matter because Mastretta says, I'll just do it myself. Gets John Ward clear. Ward's able to jump to the top. And now Mastretta going to have a chance to breathe some fresh air into the grill of his number 8 Chevy Camaro. He awaits a push from out back. Here comes Kyler Wynn and Malik Ray. Will they work with the 8 or will they try to split him to the middle? Further back, looks like Matt Lee and John Ellis Jr. are going to try to take their own chance at going to the middle now. By the way, they will be coming to 18 laps to go now as they cross the line this time. John Ward led a couple laps in the heat. He's led a lot more so far now in the feature. And at least has found himself at the front of this field quite a bit. Hyper Motorsports captain and owner of Dega Pros. He's had a lot of experience in these next gens himself. And right now, he leads the point here. Tyler Vickery, by the way, you know, I do want to mention this because everybody knows everybody. Just about. And if you know Tyler Vickery, he's one of the guys that is a very, very loyal and patient pusher. He is not going to make any sort of crazy move here on John Ward. He's going to manage his temps and try to keep this 92 out in front. That means that guys behind him may start to get a little bit more aggressive, but if you picture maybe being at the end of the race, if I'm John Ward, I like the setup here of having Tyler Vickery behind me because I think he's going to push me until he knows we're both in the money. If he's going to even consider making a move, it would be at that point. 28 going to look a little bit low here, trying to cool off, but he's going to get split. Oh, man, just as we're talking about him, Tyler Vickery is going to get split. No break from Falkingham. They're going to wreck out back. 2 cars hard into the outside wall. Caution is out. Oh, big hit. One almost upside down. Oh, and another hit. Oh, man, I think that was Zachariah Cartilage. Boy, he's missed a lot tonight, but Cartilage not able to miss that one. And, yeah, he's got some damage on the right front of that race car, and it looks like, yeah, he's got some toe out of whack, too, on the front end. So he's going to have to go in and take his fast repair. He'll be able to recover. For some of these other guys, though, I don't know. This may have been some of the cars that were involved in that first wreck. And if that's the case, we'll have to see what happens as, wow, boy, the 30 machine. James Wagoner is destroyed. Look at the back end of this thing. I mean, torn to pieces here. He's just, I don't even think he's going to limp it back to the pits. No, he's just going to drive it right down into the inside wall he goes. And, well, I take that back. He is going to try to limp it back, although that front suspension, I don't know if it's going to allow him to do that. Let's see what happened here. As we saw a couple cars with massive, massive shots here to the outside safer barrier. Go first here to TV3 and see the 30. James Wagoner getting pushed by Cody Nagels in the middle of the racetrack here. And let's see if we go to the chopper view. And getting a run on the 87 of Herbert right as Vickery's trying to slot in line. The 30 of Wagoner goes to line up the 28 of Vickery. That gets him offset of Nagels, and then Nagels is going to try to line him back up. And as Nagels tries to line him back up, Nagels is just a little bit too far forward. And is going to tag him in the right rear. That's going to send Wagoner up into the outside wall. He clips Ken McCullough Jr. I think Ken keeps it together, but out back, not many more. Jeff Merck, the driver that took that big, big hit, the 82, almost saved another one, but Cartilage right there at the end. Saw it's where he got all torn up. But yeah, I think it's Jeff Merck and James Wagoner who are going to take the brunt of this one. I mean, both of these cars took massive, massive hits to the outside wall. Merck basically got turned dead right. There's the damage for Wagoner there at the top of your screen, but then watch Jeff Merck here. He's on the bottom trying to miss it. Veliky just barely going to clip him, and as he does, look at this. Bam! All 4 tires off the ground. Car gets up on its side before it almost goes all the way over. See the 49 of Gambron sliding, as is 99 of John Darnell, and then at that point, all the damage is done. For the 30, he just brings it to a halt, tries to limp it back to the pits from there, but... I mean, we are starting to get to that point in the race. If you don't think it's been aggressive enough, the moves are just going to get more and more aggressive from here, but that really looked like kind of something that started with Vickery having to find a spot in line. Saw Wagoner try to react to it. Nagels tries to react, but eventually not everybody can react quite synchronized, and I don't know if I'd put that one. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to put it on Cody in this case in terms of the contact, but I'm saying it's not really anybody doing anything in a nice way stupid, I guess is the way to put it. It's just kind of one of those deals with the way runs, momentum works in these next gens, and it's a tough break, but big wreck nonetheless. And for Jeff Merck, again, a huge hit. Along with James Wagner. Darnell, I think he's okay for the most part. We saw Cartledge take that pretty big hit there at the end. Nowhere to go for him. And he actually had a pretty crazy look at this and before that contact, so watch it from his view here. Let me show you the hit he took. All right, so as we go back live now, setting up for what is going to be a restart with inside 15 laps to go. Lights on the pace car are still on. Matthew Baker, Matt Lee, John Ellis Jr., Malik Ray, and Steven Miles currently inside your top 5. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Be right back for the green flag here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We want pride! We want pride!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
The monkey has pride!
this season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution.
All right, welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Here we go. It's going to be a restart with just 13 laps to go. By the way, took a brief check over break. We are now at 499 subs, 1 to go on the sub count and 13 to go in the race. Let's see if we can get there by then as the green flag is back in the air. It's Matthew Baker out on point with Malik Ray. Baker, though, doing a little bit of the opposite of what we've seen guys do on the front row most of the night. He goes from top to bottom instead of bottom to top. And now Malik on the side draft. He's going to do everything he can. to stall this bottom out until he gets some help. Here comes Steven Miles, the 48 of Daniel Falkingham, 3 wide further back. Where's this middle going to merge? They're going to go right to the top. Harper, Falkingham, Miles, and Malik Ray all going to try to go to the point. Malik's able to get there, but nobody else will. Steven Miles still pushing for all he's worth, but just doesn't quite have enough to get himself and Malik clear. Malik was clear, but he didn't take it, at least not yet. And he must like that high side, and I don't blame him. Seems like that is where most of the momentum has been here so far tonight. I think it's going to stay that way over the course of the next 12 laps. Getting closer to single digits now. You just wonder if you're these guys further back. I mean, you gotta figure something out. You gotta either find a tandem partner, go to the front, or show some organization, but they're not gonna have a chance to now as caution is back out with 12 laps to go. Trouble. Oh man, one's saving it right there. Good save too, but Cody Nagels is in it. And it looks like the 6 is gonna loop it back around. He's got some damage. That golden black Chevy Camaro. We'll see if he's able to get it back to the pits. It's looking like so far so good. I think he'll be able to without any further issues. And so here we go. Go back and look at this one right away and see where it all goes wrong. This is going down the short chute into turn 1, and this was kind of getting ready to get to the point I was getting ready to say is there's just so much aggression back here towards the back that, you know, none of these guys are going to be able to get to the front. You got to work together at some point to get there, and it's just, it seems like it kind of always goes this way, but we'll get a look at it here and see what happens. So that's Zachariah Cartledge there on the outside, and that's what he's going to do here. Let's see. They're 3 wide. He doesn't really have much help, but he is out there on the outside. Ambrose starts drifting up, and then looks like Jeff Merck comes up. Not sure if Merck realized the 82 was there or not. Now, I will say the 82 may have crept down just a little bit, but you can see at this point, the 82 is above the white line. Merck's below the white line. Merck's going to definitely come above that white line, so I'm not sure if Jeff just thought he was clear or thought the 82 maybe lost his run. I'm just not sure, but definitely looked to me a little bit more like Merck coming up. Again, maybe a little bit of the 82 coming down, but once these two make contact, now the wreck's going to start. And for Jeff Merck, he's going to go back up the track. Nagels here, he goes for a trip towards the inside. He's going to come back up and hit the outside wall. I think he is. Slides up. Bam. Yeah, backs that car into the outside safer barrier. I guess not all that bad considering what it could have been. Either way, though, watch this again now. We'll go to a bit of a different angle. And again, watch Jeff Merck here after this contact starts. As he comes down. This was a second pack. That's why it didn't collect as many cars as it certainly could have. And for Merck here, he does a relatively good job of getting it locked down and straightened back out before going back up and making any more contact. So I think he's okay. Well, yeah, maybe not. Doing a burnout like that maybe makes me wonder if he had some sort of suspension damage. Keeping that thing from turning. It seems to be okay. We'll have to see what it looks like though once he gets it fixed up. Back out on the racetrack. And take 2 more looks at this here before we go back live. And another incident where, you know, it's kind of, like I said, we see this time and time again in a bunch of different series, not just here, but you hate to say, but it kind of is. It's guys in the back that you just kind of wonder, you know, what are you doing? I mean, I'm not saying anybody in that case, again, did anything egregious, but it's, you know, work together here and you avoid this incident and maybe get back to the front. But that's just the aggression that these next gens cause people to have coming to the end of a race. And a lot of money on the line. You got to make something happen. A lot of guys feel like they're running out of time, and you start to get a little bit on the desperate side of things. Either way, 10 laps to go when we get this restart. It's probably going to be 7 or 8. And so now, start locking in your favorites. Who you got winning this one? Got Malik Ray right now up front. Matthew Baker 2nd. Steven Miles 3rd. Matt Lee in 4th. Falkingham 5th. John Ellis Jr. 6th. Nathan Harper in 7th. With Chris Blanchard 8th. Chase Mastretta in 9th. And John Ward currently rounding out your top 10. And man, I think for my pick right now, and again, there's a lot of picks you can make up here. I'm going to have to go with this guy right here. The number 1 machine, Steven Miles. The driver out of Hudson, Louisiana. And man, right now, he has been on fire this week. Again, great run in the PGR Light Series. And so far tonight, he has been, it felt like in the top 5 every time that we've looked at him. So for Steven, one of the Nightmare Esports teammates, can he find victory lane here tonight for the first time in the Roughneck Racing Series? We'll have to find out. He's got some teammates up here with him. They're a little bit spread out, but certainly doesn't have some of them as well. I mean, I'm looking more so at Falkingham. It's going to be the guy he's looking to get with right here because he's lost some of his other teammates in Cody Nagels. Chase Mastretta's in 10th, not too far back. We'll have to see how it all pans out. I think we're going to see the lights go off on the pace car this time. And you see a couple people on the apron here. I wonder if fuels may be becoming just a little bit of a concern here if we start to go into a few overtimes. And it does look like the lights have officially went off on the iRacing.com pace car here tonight. And so I do want to, one more time, at least for now, shout out to everybody watching in the chat. Hope everybody's having a good time. And again, apologize if I sound a little too stuffy. I'm sure you've probably heard a couple more voice cracks than usual here tonight. I am still under the weather, so doing what we can here. But it's been good here tonight. I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of fun watching these guys. They've been putting on a pretty good show so far. I know we've had a lot of cautions, but in terms of the racing we've seen, it kind of gets you excited for what you could expect in future races. Obviously, the PGR 500 with this car, if they can keep it clean. The more practice, you know, you hope the better they get, but it's just a lot of aggression, and that aggression doesn't go down as the race gets towards the end. It goes up. For Malik Ray right here, he's getting ready to dial it up. Another level, Matthew Baker on his inside. Baker, another driver who's kind of feeling like he's probably due for one here in the Madness Money Racing Series. On the Roughneck Racing side of things, Matt Lee. He's got the job done before in the next-gen cars over at PGR. Then John Ellis Jr., one of the veterans who we don't see as much as we used to. Can he find a way to get to victory lane tonight? And that's Sim Seats number 21, Dark Horse Ford Mustang. Chris Blanchard is up here. John Ward, I heard somebody in the chat say that he was hungry, and you got that right. That 92 looks like he wants to get the job done here tonight. So we'll have to see. Either way, it's going to be 8 laps to decide it, and this race still will not be deemed official until we get to that white flag. That means 7 laps of pure chaos. I don't think we're going to make it. You never know, and I hope they prove me wrong. But they have not so far here tonight, so we'll have to see. As here we go. Pace car going to make the left turn yet again. We'll go top off on fuel, maybe get a little popcorn. Get ready for an 8-lap sprint to the finish. We are now within the same distance of what we ran in the heat races here tonight. We saw how those went. Can Matthew Baker and Malik Ray get lined up here, work together until the end? Or will we see some more team versus team? Here we go. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. 8 laps to go, and it's a good restart for the 7 of Malik Ray, the 04 Matt Lee. Trying to line up behind him here. Will he be able to get a good push? The 21 of John Ellis Jr. trying to get there to be the 3rd car tandem in line. Not yet, though. And this bottom, I mean, this is where they're going to start pushing 3, maybe even adventure to try 4 cars deep. Blanchard, he's trying it on the outside. John Ellis Jr. is trying to work the gap just a little bit. And boy, look at the run up top. I thought briefly there Baker was going to get clear. He still might. He will into turn 3. Him and Miles. Miles, though, is going to beat him up to the high side. Malik Ray now going to have to make a decision. Does he go with the 1 car or does he split him? Looks like for now he's going to work with the 1 of Steven Miles. They get locked up on the outside, and this outside is getting ready to move. You see the inside. I mean, it just disappears out of camera view. They have got so much more help right now up top. That's where they got all the momentum from, but now the bottom going to start fighting back. Matthew Baker has rallied a little bit of a cavalry here. The 48 of Daniel Falkingham, the Coke Series driver. You know he knows how to push. Just behind him, Harper and Chase Mastretta, Brian Hennings. This line will get organized, and they're going to give a fight to him. Now Matthew Baker gets clear. What will he do? He's going to jump up and might have to make a block. Where will Miles go? Looks like for now Miles is going to stay behind the 5. Malik Ray stays in line as well. Oh, no, he doesn't. Baker's going to get split at the last second before they get into 3. Whoa, trouble. Now they're going to wreck out back. This might be the big one. How many is it going to collect? John Ellis Jr. goes around in the middle of the pack on the banking of 3 and 4. It's not the big one. Most of them keep it together. John Ward, the other car involved. Caution back out, and we're going to head for a restart now with inside 5 laps to go. All right, well, I didn't think they'd get there, but this was kind of a mess all the way from the backstretch to about the point where they actually ultimately wrecked here. And for John Ellis Jr., surprised he didn't take out more cars in the process, but he does have some damage, significant damage, I might add, the front end of that Ford Mustang. So let's go back and look at it here and see where it starts. So first off, how about Steven Miles getting aggressive here on Matthew Baker? Says, yeah, I don't think I want to do any more pushing right now. I want to go to the lead. And Malik says, I will go right with you here. The 7 jumps to the outside, Everybody leaves Matthew Baker. Lee jumps down just in time. That starts stacking him up, and then it's actually a byproduct of that stack up that leads to the contact here for John Ellis Jr. You see John Ellis Jr. here. He's on the outside. Ken McCullough Jr. is going to run into the back of Matt Lee, and that stack up is going to shoot the 03 up the track just a bit and gets him up the track. And ooh, that's actually some pretty significant right rear, left front neck code there between Ken McCullough Jr. and John Ellis Jr. Watch this. I mean, there is no contact here. It's not even close to contact between these two. But you would think John Ellis Jr. got doored about as hard as you could. Bam! Right there. Shoots that car right up into the wall. And then you got John Ward, who's going to try to sneak by. Can't do it. Gets into the 21. Now, John Ellis Jr. kind of like a moving barricade here for Chris Blanchard and John Ward. Ward gets hit again by James Waring. John Ellis Jr. is able to straighten it back out at that point, but the damage was done. And really, the rest of it after that point went to John Ward, who now going to be back in the 30-plus positions. He's not in a very good position here for a driver who had a really, really good night going. And everybody mentioned in the chat he was hungry, and I agree. It seemed that way, but not going to be able to feed the appetite here tonight for John Ward. At least I wouldn't think so with how far back he's going to be. As he goes down here, did he get hit again as he comes back up? Oh, he doesn't. Boy, wow. Again, Cartledge in the 82, I think that was, somehow sneaks by. I don't know how he keeps missing these. It's a heck of a job here, and this may be a pretty good onboard view too, so let's go look at it. He was in the second pack. So let's see him start spinning here. He's on the gas, the brakes, on the apron on the brakes. He's working him back up and able to just dodge to the right. Miss that one. Boy, another really, really close call right there for Cartledge. Nice job avoiding that one. There's really not too many more views to look at that wreck. It was a pretty simple setup in terms of what caused it. But I do want to get one more look here in turn 3 entry cam and then show you what it looked like here. I'm not sure if by this point the contact was made. I think it was. Let's see right here. Watch the 03, and you can see even there that there's no contact, but it still counts it as some. And then once that starts, it's just on from there. Again, though, very lucky that this didn't collect more than what it initially looked like. I don't think the damage for Blanchard's too bad. Warren's going to have a dent. Pretty significant one on the front end of his race car, but he may still be able to continue. These next gens are pretty good with damage as long as it's not to the suspension components. That's kind of the Achilles heel, if you will, of these cars. They can take quite a bit of damage and still be pretty fast on a lot of areas, but as soon as you start hitting those suspension pieces, that's where they start to struggle and really don't show so much speed anymore. So that would obviously, again, be something to keep an eye on. So as they come around this time, we'll see if the lights go off. It's going to be 4 laps to go here from Talladega. And if that's the case, that means we'll restart with 3 laps to go. And as we await the restart, see if we've got anybody in the Discord channels that we have in the race here tonight. And doesn't really look like it. At least not anybody that's super close to the front. So for now, we'll hold off on any interviews. But again, obviously, as always, we will have your top 3 at the end of the race. Make sure you stick around for that, but either way, 3 laps, that's basically a natural green, white, checkered +1 right here, meaning that we've got to, again, make it to the white flag for this race to be official. If we can get to that point, then it's all bets are off. If we can't, then we're going to be headed to our first overtime. And who knows if fuel's going to be a concern or not. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there, but overall, right now, it's been certainly a pretty chaotic race. I've had quite a few cautions, 7 in just 50 laps. You can do the math. An average of more than 1 caution, I should say, per 10 laps. And so if we get to 10 before this thing's all said and done, that'd be an average of 5. We're hoping that, of course, we don't get to that point. I don't think we will. Either way, 3 laps to go. I mean, now you start to think if you're one of these pushers up here, how does that work out for you? Well, that's going to be borderline on if you can push non-stop from here to the finish. It's close. You can do it for 2 laps. 3 is starting to push that envelope a little bit. We're getting ready to find out if they can, but either way, 3 laps to go. It's going to be tight. I think right now, if you're Daniel Falkingham, you have a tough decision. Do you want to stick with your teammate on the bottom here and see if you can maybe stay out in front on the inside till turn 3 before you jump up? Do you try to pull your teammate with you, or do you go with the route we've seen him do a couple times here tonight, which is just get a little bit of a jump right up to the top of the racetrack, and again, try to be that Pied Piper up top. And if you're any of these, I'd say first 2 or 3 after the 48, if he jumps up, Nathan Harper, Stephen Miles, Matthew Baker, you're not necessarily thinking about splitting him. You're thinking about, let's see if we can get our line to create some separation from the bottom here for that last lap or so that when we're coming out of 4, we can make some moves of our own. But remember, top 5 payout. And right now, the last man in the money is Brian Hennings in the 74. Here we go. 3 laps to decide a winner in the Madness Money Racing Series tonight from Talladega. Green flag is in the air. We are back underway at Talladega. Good restart for the 48 of Falkingham. Tried to pull his teammate Chase Mastretta with him, but he's not going to be able to do it. We'll see what he does. For now, he's going to stick to the bottom. Now he goes to the top. Where will Harper go? Harper's going to push him. Baker looks a lane lower. Matt Lee's going to go with him. Off of turn 2, they're going to now fan out 3 wide. All lanes looking organized, but which one's got the momentum? Right now, it's the top. Falkingham, Harper, and Miles all clear. Will any of them try to go to these other lines? Not yet. For now, Matthew Baker is still working. He's trying to get Matt Lee clear the bottom. They do that. And now Kyler Wynn and Malik Ray stuck in the middle. It's just those 2. They don't have any other helpers at the moment, but they're trying to side draft this bottom back, see if they can find a spot in line. Nash Brendola going to move all the way down to the bottom. Right now, it's just Baker and Lee. They need some more help. They might get it in the form of Nash Brambilla, who had a roller coaster of a night. And now he finds himself back up front with just 2 laps to go. Last lap for a caution if we're going to get one. Nathan Harper still pushing for all it's worth on the back bumper of Falkingham. And now it starts to become a battle attempts here. Matt Lee and Nathan Harper, they've both been pushing for a while. The outside has better organization. If you're Matthew Baker right here, you're hoping that somebody else jumps out of line, even if it's in front of you, somewhere to keep this line going, because if not, Matt Lee is going to run out of attempts, and there's the separation. Matt Lee says, I can't push any longer. I'm going to blow up. They'll wait for some more help, and they're going to get it. Veliky jumps down. Kyler's going to look to the middle. Veliky blocks. Kyler, will he look back low? Oh, he's going to turn Veliky. Turn Veliky up the track. They're going to wreck him up in the tri-oval. We won't make it. Caution's out. Now it's the big one as Ken McCullough Jr. goes flying into the catch fence. Cartledge is in it. John Darnell's in it. Mark Von Dell gets involved. Carter's going to miss it. And they almost made it, but not quite enough. For Von Dell, he's got damage. Try to loop around. Knievel's going to sneak by here at the end. And in Veliky, you wonder how much damage he got. That was where that wreck all started at. It was between the 62 and the 82. And so we will be heading into the green-white checkered. First attempt at it, at least. Before we get to that, let's go back and look at what has now been officially the biggest wreck so far here tonight. And it all starts with Veliky and Kyler Wynn here. Let's see what happens. So here's what happens. Veliky's going to jump down to the bottom. Kyler Wynn's got a big run out back. Now, granted, we know that these guys, they're not necessarily buddies. You know, it's the end of the race, and if you're Kyler here, Kyler, of course, thinking, no, I'm going for the win here. So he's going to go to the middle. Landon pretty much knows that Kyler's going to do that. Landon goes to the bottom, but he knows that the 82's looking up, so Landon looks for a block. Doesn't quite cover it all the way there. It seems like right there he starts to cover it, but then Kyler, as he tries to line him back up, gets offset there, and then that second little swipe back is what ultimately turns Landon around. So they're okay. Right here, it seemed like when they were pushing a little bit offset right, it was still okay. And then, you know, that maybe shot Landon's car up the track a little bit. It's hard to tell from that view. Let's see if we can get a little bit more straight overhead here. All right, so again, watch the 62 of Veliky. Yeah, so maybe when Kyler comes down right there, it does get the 62 a little offset right. Now he's a little offset left. That gets Landon out of shape. Then right there, it's going to finish him off. And he gets up into the 03 of Ken McCullough Jr., and now it's on from there. Landon Veliky gets back down into Kyler Wynn. Ken McCullough Jr. up into the catch fence there just briefly. Matt Lee gets involved. Darnell Cartledge have a massive collision down there at the bottom of the tri-oval. And, you know, that's just one of those deals. Kyler feeling like, obviously, you know, he shouldn't have to lift. If you're going to make that block at this point in the race, I'm going to do everything I can to cover it. Veliky feeling like, you know, probably, could you cut me a little bit of a break? Either way, doesn't work out for either of them. And instead, leads to a huge incident. Malik Ray looks like he's able to get through there. I don't think he got damage. Brambilla, ooh, maybe spun out at the end there, but I don't know if he actually got any damage. And Mark Von Dell there at the end getting involved. Let's go to his onboard view and see what he saw through this whole ordeal. So Von Dell's going to actually see it happen up front here. Sees the smoke. Now he's on the brakes. And, ooh, I think he gets hit from out back. Seems that way. And then after he gets hit out back here, trying to find a way to dodge. And, ooh, fortunately gets up into his teammate there. Ken McCullough Jr. A little bit of friendly fire there. Obviously nothing intentional, though. Just the way that wreck played out. But, boy, for Ken McCullough Jr., I think he got the worst of this one. Look at this. Bam. Big, big hit. That outside safer barrier. And give you one more look at this here in slow-mo before we go back live. And this will kind of show you that incident, too, for Veliky and Kyler Wynn. So right there, they're offset. Now Veliky's going to try to save it. Looking for one save there. Not going to make it. Too far now, and then maybe gets tapped again. At this point, the wreck's on, and then again for Ken McCullough Jr. Watch as he's going to get wedged here. He's okay there, some damage, but then it's here. It really gets finished off. That car, again, takes a huge hit. Then gets up on the safer barrier, briefly into the catch fence, before he eventually comes back down the racetrack. Danny Barnes says ride with Sean Corbett through it. And let's do just that. See where Sean Corbett landed after this incident. And you would hope, and the assumption obviously would be that he had a pretty crazy miss in all this. So here we go. We'll go to the roll bar view and watch this. Oh, man, Sean Corbett. Boy, he split the seas right there himself. How close was that? Watch this from the blimp cam for Corbett. He sees him wrecking, and he's just going to shoot right through the gap right there. Oh, maybe slight contact with Lee. Very, very little bit, if any, but still certainly something to note. Either way, though, yeah, that was a heck of a job by Sean Corbett. Missed that incident. All right, so let's go back live now. Lights are back off on the pace car. We're getting ready to get back green. And so we will be back in just about 15 to 20 seconds here for the restart. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Getting ready for green-white checkered attempt number 1. Got Falkingham, Baker, Harper, Melton, and Miles rounding out your top 5. We're going to have to make it one lap under green to the white flag to make this race official. Otherwise, we will have to rack them up and try it again. All right, so here we go. Field going to be working their way back into the Geico restart zone. We've got the 48 machine on the bottom of Falkingham, the 4 and Nathan Harper up top. Both drivers looking for big money here tonight in the form of a win. Green flag is back in the air, and we are green for 2 more laps here at Talladega. The 48 of Falkingham with a good restart. For now, he's going to stay on the bottom already. Third lane getting working. They're trying to split out Harper, but they're not going to be able to do it that time. Maybe they will. Miles is going to look a lane lower. Steven Miles is not working with anybody here tonight. He is splitting any and everybody he can. Now he goes back to the top. Leaves Baker out, but it gives Falkingham a huge head of steam right here. Watch out back, though. Again, these guys have got to keep it clean for this lap. Oh, man, they got 4 wide there. Can everybody hold it together here? They go off into turn 3. A lot of 3 wide and disorganization out back. Everybody jockeying for any sort of position they can get. Meanwhile, at the front, here comes Falkingham off of turn 4. Can they make it to the white flag? Steven Miles still working with Falkingham, but don't look now. The bottom starting to charge back up. Chase Mastretta pushing Matthew Baker. Josh Giambrone's there. Here we go. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Talladega. The 48 of Falkingham. He still leads up top. Steven Miles, how is he going to set up the move to make on Daniel Falkingham? It's his teammate, so he may not. He may stay loyal. Oh, man. Baker ghosted in a car with a... What in the world is going on in the bottom here? They're stuck together, and there they go. They're going to wreck. That'll wreck the whole field. Some sort of technical issue cleans out the rest of the pack, and it's going to come down to a 4, maybe 6-car race. I don't know if those 2 on the bottom, Melton and somebody else, can get back in time. Not don't think they're going to. It's Mastretta. It'll be a 4-car race. Who is going to make the move? Man, it looks like Malik was thinking about it. Now Malik's going to look to the bottom. Him and Harper are going to get together. Malik goes back to the bottom. Miles looks for one more move on his teammate, looking for the side draft. Not going to be enough. Daniel Falkingham is going to win it at Talladega. It's a 1-2 for Nightmare Esports. Malik Ray rounds out the podium. And Nathan Harper in 4th, and it's Landon Veliky after being involved in the last wreck, who finishes in the last money position. And boy, I don't know what that was that happened on the last lap. It looked like Baker was overlapped with somebody else. I mean, I've never seen something like that. We've had that a couple times here tonight. We'll go back and look at it here, but Daniel Falkingham in the 48, your race winner. Coke Series driver out of Jonesport. Let's go back, and while he comes over here to burn it down, we have got to go watch what in the heck happened on that last lap. Landon also saying, you got to look at my view on the last lap. We will get to that here after we look at some of this chaos here. So first, let's back this all the way up, actually, as a matter of fact, and see what in the world happened to Matthew Baker. All right, so watch this. They might have already been locked together. They were. Oh, boy, this is all going to start with Chase Mastretta blinking. And so eventually, oh, come on. Apologies for that. Not sure what was going on. And let's see. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what happens here. And watch out, because there's the 8 of Chase Mastretta. And he's going to blink out right here. So he's pushing Baker, but watch him blink out. Again, on the bottom of your screen. And when he blinks out, that's where everything's going to go south. Because all of a sudden, when he blinks back in, he's going to blink in Baker's car. So again, we'll play it slow here for you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Right there. He blinks out, and then all of a sudden, he's going to blink back in here in just a minute. Right there. And when he blinks back in, look at this. He's already now inside Baker's car. And he's getting even further into Baker's car. Baker doesn't know what the heck to do. And they just stay that way. Baker gets pushed, and then actually, I think those two are going to be okay. But then Gambron trying to push Baker here gets him off. I mean, that's just, I don't even know what you call this whole incident. That is one of the weirdest last lap wrecks that I have certainly seen in my time of broadcasting. And then, man, they pile them up out back. A couple drivers sneak through, and then up front. Let's go back and again, look at this finish here. Then we'll go and take one more view of the onboard. Landon Veliky. There he go. I didn't think Miles was going to do it, if I'm being quite honest, but he tried. Steven push, and right there, I think Steven was a little too soft on the way he made that move. I think he needed to make it a little more aggressive, and he might have had it. Tried getting more aggressive at this point, but it's just a little too late, and Daniel Falkingham takes the race win. All right, so let's go back and get one final look at this here. We're going to go to the onboard of this last lap for Landon Veliky, as he had a pretty crazy look through it. Here we go. Let's watch the onboard view. We're going to speed it up a little bit here until we get to the backstretch. Remember, Veliky was just in the last wreck. At this point, that's pretty much his hope, is that they do indeed wreck. He gets down to the bottom, and here we go. This is where all the chaos is going to start to unfold. Veliky up top. And watch this. There they go. They're going to start wrecking. Veliky is going to go all the way to the bottom. Goes all the way to the wall. Actually almost touches the wall, where he eventually drives all the way back up. And a nice considerable merge right there. Gets back going. I'll tell you what. That's pretty dang impressive, Landon. Did not hit the wall as well. Nicely done there. So we now go back live up front. Falkingham has already burned down the house. So we will go ahead and take a look at your finishing results here of the night before we go grab your top 3 for interviews. And that was, again, from Heat 1. So we'll pull up your final results from the featured event here tonight. All right, Daniel Falkingham, your race winner. Stephen Miles is in 2nd. And again, Malik Ray rounding out the podium. Nathan Harper back in 4th. Landon Veliky in 5th. John Ellis Jr. in 6th with Cody Nagel 7th. Chase Mastretta back in 8th. Nash Brambilla in 9th. And Chris Blanchard rounding out your top 10. Sean Corbett finishes in 11th. Jonathan Herbert in 12th. Connor Cunningham 13th with Edward Fiedler in 14th. You've got Samuel Carter back in 15th. Ambrose Kniebel in 16th. Tony Edrington back in 17th. It's Matthew Baker in the 18th spot. And rounding out the top 20 here tonight. In 19th, it's Brian Hennings. And 20th, Tyler Vickery. Teresa Spiker finishes 21st. Jason Lyon 22nd. Christopher Melton in 23rd with Josh Gamber in 24th. John Ward finishes 25th. Devin Ramsey in 26th. Mark Vondell back in 27th with Kevin Price in 28th. James Wagner 29th, and Matt Lee rounding out your top 30. James Waring finishes 31st. Zachariah Cartledge finishes 32nd. Kyler Wynn 33rd. Jeff Merck 34th with John Darnell 35th. Ken McCullough Jr. in 36th with Matt Mettler 37th. Steve Sizemore in 38th. Ron Hunter 39th, and Ethan Eckerd rounding out the field. He finishes in 40th. All right, we're going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back here at Talladega. All right, going to start first here tonight with your race winner. It's Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy.
Hello, I got you.
Well, man, you get the job done here tonight. You get the win at Talladega and the next gens. But, boy, your teammate didn't just hand it to you at the end. What was going through your mind when you saw Steven on your bumper off of Ford? Did you think he was going to make a move?
No, for sure he's going to make a move. We're here to win races. We're not, I mean, of course, well, people are going to work together, but we're here to win races and win a lot of money. So I was ready for him to see what he was going to do off of 4, and thankfully, if he would, he moved pretty slow to the inside, so that allowed me to give myself time to make the block and make it stick. If he would have made it super fast and got to my inside, he would have got to my inside for sure. But yeah, I was definitely interested to see what was going to happen at the end. But I don't know if you saw on the last side with the bottom with Chase blinking out and going through, I think it was Baker. That just killed the inside line. That wrecked everybody, and that just left us 4, myself, Malik, and Nathan up there. Got to give a big shout out to Nathan. He worked with me pretty much throughout the whole night, through the heat and through the main race. So I'm glad he was able to finish up here. But yeah, I was ready for them to make moves off 4, but thankfully we blocked them all perfectly, and we were able to get the dub in this one.
Absolutely, and yeah, certainly one of the weirdest things that I've seen in my time commentating on the last lap, with Baker and Chase almost getting overlaid within each other. But either way, you're out in front of it, so you don't have to worry about it. We've been seeing this next-gen car run a little bit more, but we got a big event that you got to go focus on now tomorrow night, the Truck Series for the PGR Championship. How do you set your mindset and go focus on that?
Yeah, it definitely gives us momentum going into tomorrow night, but obviously it's going to be in the trucks. But we've had good success in the trucks before, so I can't see why we can't go and repeat tomorrow night, get the big money. But we're going to do all we can, and obviously running this next gen helps us prepare for the PGR 500 in February. So lots of big events coming up now that all the holidays and stuff are over. So but looking forward to tomorrow night, and hopefully we can bring home a title.
Absolutely, and Daniel, we appreciate you talking to us. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Just gotta thank Wagner for putting this stuff on. Thanks to everyone who comes to races each and every week to make these races possible. Shout out to all the Nightmare Boys. Shout out to Nathan as well for, like I said, I already mentioned him for working so well. But shout out to Cody, Landon, Chase, Steven there at the end, and whole Nightmare crew who was in here tonight. Thanks to you for broadcasting. Thanks to everyone who watched, and I think that's about it.
And again, Daniel, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the win. We'll see you tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll see you next week again.
Heck yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, now that's going to bring us up to your second place finisher here on the night. Another one of the Nightmare Esports drivers, Steven Miles. Steven, this is Austin up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring home second tonight, and man, before we get to that finish, you look like you had a whole different driving style tonight. Very aggressive, not going with anybody that tried to block you, and it pays off. You bring home a second place finish. So first of all, what was the change in the mindset here tonight to make you go in and go out and be so aggressive and so dominant?
I really think it's just the car itself. Racing so many vehicles, I think this one in the Gen 6 is you have to be aggressive the whole time. There's no sitting back and riding and waiting for any wrecks, and pretty much you want to be up to the front of the field the whole time because you know how bad the checkups are in the middle to the back of the field. So I just wanted to stay up front. I ran by myself, so I ain't really have to worry about, helping a teammate or anything like that. I could just put myself first, and I'm pretty sure that's what it was tonight.
Yeah, it certainly was. And then the next question, obviously, has got to be that move you make on the last lap. Is there anything you wish you could have done different? Falkingham says he thinks if you make that move a little bit quicker, you probably get to his inside. What do you see from your point of view?
That's the one spot I really didn't want to because I didn't know if Malik was gonna go with me or not. If I take the inside like I did Monday, they could just side draft me on the outside and I could just lose 2 spots. So I was trying to think smart and be smart. So it's a learning process. I'm still not comfortable with the car because I haven't ran it that much on super speedways, but it's a monster, man. So with time and with experience, I should get better at making those moves. It's just if I did have a teammate behind me, it'd be a different thing. I would have been confident to make any move I wanted to, but usually the outside is the way to go. So I was really trying to make him over not correct, but over jump to the bottom and I get to his outside. But it worked out how it worked out, and I don't have no problem with how it did, man. Good second place finish.
Yeah, you were very smart tonight, and you made all the moves it looked like you wanted to for the most part here tonight. So, Steven, before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Thank Nightmare Esports, man. Thank you all for doing a good job with these broadcasts. And I mean, you got everybody hooked to the TVs when you show one of these. Appreciate the admins, Roughneck Racing, and all them for putting the show up. And thank you for Malik for pushing me there. You know, he could have probably left me hanging a couple times. And shout out to Daniel for the win. And thank my girlfriend, God, and my mom, and that'll be it.
Steven, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the second place finish. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow night, obviously, and then hopefully the week after as well.
Thank you.
All right, now that's going to bring us to your final podium finisher here on the night, Malik Ray. Malik, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy? Good. Well, you bring home a third place finish, and man, it seemed kind of like a bit of a roller coaster race for you here tonight. We saw you and your teammate Kyler. You got involved in a couple wrecks, but you still were able to make your way back to the front. Break us down. What was going through your head there that last lap when you saw them piling up out back? What was the game plan?
It was very disorganized. I was trying to yell out commands. It didn't make any sense. And it was just a lot of chaos. I had Nathan going with me. I should have listened to him, but I didn't know if he was if he was actually saying it or was he going to hang me out. So I just stayed in third. I tried to go bottom. And then Steven went bottom, and then I was trying to push him, and then Dan blocked that. And then we just ended up having a drag race for P3 while they had a drag race for P1 and P2.
Absolutely. And, you know, kind of one of the other things I felt like we saw a little bit here tonight is the top obviously dominant there at the end on that last lap. But for quite a bit of the race, at least the green flag racing that we did get to see, we saw pretty much every lane working at different points. So what is it about this car? How do you go up there and just make any lane work at any time?
I think you just got to pay attention to the front 2 cars in each lane. If they know what they're doing, then that lane is almost, it's almost certainty that it's going to move. If they don't know what they're doing, then it's going to end up, dropping back. So I think you just got to pay attention to who's where.
Well, Malik, before we let you go celebrate the big winnings here tonight, the podium finish, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Wagoners, Welding, and you guys for broadcasting, and Kyler and Steven and Nathan on the white flag too. He was trying to help me out too. I appreciate all you guys, so thank you.
Malik, thank you for talking to us. Can't forget that obviously you're going to be going for a PGR championship tomorrow night as well. So we'll see you then, and hopefully we'll see you next week on top of that.
Yes, sir. See you then.
All right. Well, that is just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight from Talladega Superspeedway. Again, what a great race it was. And your race winner, Daniel Falkingham, Stephen Miles, Malik Ray, both with impressive runs as well. And that one was a ton of fun to watch for the green flag racing that we did get. As always, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow night with the PGR eSports 2024 Championship. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll see who's crowned the 2024 champion, takes home the trophy, the extra money, and the big payouts to go along with it. That's it for me, Austin Green, tonight here on PGR eSports. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. And until next time, have a good night.